Expansion.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, welcome to Expansion. My name is Rafa. And today we have probably one of the most important shows we could ever hope to do. It combines so many important things, so many huge things, so many vital key things to today's world, to the stories of humanity that we are eternally thankful for our guest today. His name is Nestor Manuelian.
Hey Rafa, how are you
Nestor,
going?
welcome, man. Nestor, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for
us,
having
man.
me.
I am deeply humbled and thankful, as I was saying, for your presence today. For those who don't know, Nestor is a world champion salsa and bachata dancer. He is the owner or co-owner of one of the biggest, or if not one of the biggest, Latin dance schools in Australia, being Latin Dance Australia, LDA. He's an ambassador for the Latin community in Sydney and Australia. He's an incredible performer, a great person as well, very liked, but also very sadly, and I say this with my hand on my heart, right now battling stage 4
Yep.
cancer.
Yeah,
Stage
stage
four
4 colon cancer. Yeah,
Colon cancer. All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
my pleasure.
It is a very powerful message today. It can't be easy for you and your loved ones, and I'm going to try my best to do justice to your story, to your life, and to what you're going through right now, my brother. Because I can only imagine what it is that you're going through, mi hermano. How are you feeling?
To be completely honest, I don't think I am your regular person when it comes to this.
Sure.
In fact, a lot of people have been very surprised at how I've taken this on
Great,
board.
man. Great to hear.
I think I had two moments of one moment of a breakdown, one moment, where I had to question everything. But
Sure.
besides that, I've actually been okay.
Great, man.
One thing I said from the very, very start, and I've maintained to my family, to my friends, is that cancer might affect my body, but it's not going to change who I am.
Your spirit.
Yeah. So I've continued living life as normal,
Good man.
obviously with some changes, with
Of course.
operations and stuff like that. But overall, I'm actually not upset, not angry, not
Yeah.
anything of the sort, because none of that is going to change my position.
Uh-huh.
So I've actually been pretty good.
So the victim mentality, let's say, is not there. Why me? Why, you just sort of
Yeah.
just handling your shit,
Yeah.
like just head on. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
man.
reason for that. I used to run a charity
Sure.
called Meredith and Rundle Inc. I had a friend who passed away from breast cancer. So me and her husband started a charity under her name, Up in Cairns. And so for the last 6 years, we used to raise money for ladies who are metastatic stage 4, and we used to grant their wishes. So I spent a lot of time around this. And so therefore I knew that the victim mentality doesn't change anything.
Well, that brings up something very important. And one of the reasons why, beyond your story, beyond our show, beyond, your many achievements, I think if we can bring people, everyone out there, a little bit closer to the reality of it, then what it's like, the pain, the suffering, the good, the bad, and the
Yep.
ugly, then perhaps if those people do happen to encounter cancer in their lives directly themselves or through loved ones or through family or etc., then at least they've got, that story, that example, that knowledge, that wisdom that hopefully today you will part with us here on the show.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
think is
cancer's
very
always been a
important.
very taboo topic, hasn't it?
It is, man. Yeah.
Even myself going into this, I knew what I knew from the charity, but I've still been able to learn so
Yeah.
much more. And no longer is stage 4, at least in my eyes and,
Sure.
and those around me, a death sentence.
Sure.
Um,
Now
it's
more than ever,
it's
yes.
an obstacle,
Yeah, man.
you know?
Definitely.
Very well aware it can go two ways.
Of course.
But I treat it as in, okay, it's another obstacle in life, got to get past it.
Sure. Well, life is very fragile. Life is very fragile, and I think most of us are in denial. A denial of the constant dance with death that we No pun intended, because obviously being the amazing dancer that you are, professional and everything. But, you know, from the moment we're born, we're dancing with death.
Yeah.
And I think the world, humanity lives in denial as if, you know, we're immortal and somehow we're all going to make it to this beautiful sunset one day and then maybe we'll go, but we're all going to go and we can go tomorrow. And that's why in conversations with myself, I thought we need to get your story now, you know, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Correct.
Right?
100%.
And I think not only is your story amazing because of everything you've achieved, but also, as we've said already, I think it's a very powerful message that we want to get to people out there, my brother. So thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, mi hermano de corazón. Thank you, man. And I think the first thing I said to you when we were chatting, when I heard about the cancer and everything, was, you know, la garra charrúa, you know, bring out the fighting Uruguayan spirit that we're renowned for in the world, you know. Our little country of 3-point-something million people, you know, always punching way above its weight in football, which for most people is like, well, that's just a sport, mate. But for us, it's...
Be careful, Paulie might cut you off.
Well, I'll tell you why Paulie won't cut me off. Because as much as I big up Uruguay, and I know you do as well, because we're very passionate about La Celeste and Cavani and Suarez and Forlan and all this amazing history of football that we have in Uruguay. Yeah. And let's be honest, we cry for Uruguay.
Yeah,
we cry for Uruguay. You know, I don't know many people that cry for their teams. You know, specifically on this side of the world. You know, like when the Blues lose to Queensland, I don't see any people crying. You know, but when I was a kid in Uruguay, you used to get knocked out of World Cups or whatever. I used to cry.
I think I get more affected by La Celeste losing than my cancer at the
moment. There you go. But how I'm going to sweeten the deal for our beautiful friend in production. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. Nestor Manuelian. So we have Armenian heritage.
Correct. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you've got an Armo brother in production. So yeah, of course, because he's Bakaban, you know.
Yep.
And so all these surnames, most of these surnames ending with AN, with un, particularly in our part of the world in Uruguay, you know.
Yeah.
Armenian.
Big Armenian population.
Huge Armenian population in Uruguay. Correct, yeah. And even like the Diego Forlan, you know, Forlan is also very much Armenian.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Forlan is, So yeah, big Armenian migration to Uruguay, turn of the century, 20th century, beginning of 20th century. Well represented over there. And Uruguayan is your background. Your background is Uruguayan.
Yeah, born in Uruguay. Was there till I was 4.
Okay, awesome.
And then raised here.
With your twin brother?
With my twin. I got an older brother and a younger sister.
Okay, awesome. Jaime. Shout out to Jaime.
Yeah.
And shout out to the Manuelian family. I'm sure they're going to be checking out the show.
Yeah. There's my dad, Juan, mum, Adriana.
Sure.
Older brother, Marcelo.
Sure.
Twin, Jamie, and younger sister, Daniela.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think I've only met Jamie. I might have crossed paths with the brother or the sister here and there, but shout out to all of you guys. Lots of love and strength through this particular time that you're all going through. But this man is a ray of light, because even though you are going through what you're going through, man, you're still smiling. So respect. And big shout out again to the family. So Uruguay is the background. What part of Uruguay are you guys from?
Montevideo.
Okay.
Cruz Carrasco.
Oh, okay, cool. I know the area well.
So we came from the Shanty area.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was actually there in December.
Sure.
And I took my wife and 2 of my friends that went with me.
Sure.
To go and visit.
Yeah.
The streets that I was born in.
Sure.
And even for them, it was a big culture shock.
Of course, yeah. So, it's almost like when you cross Avenida Italia, Gianastasio to the other side, and in Uruguay you get these poorer sections, like any developing nation.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us coming over from Australia or these countries, it would be a bit of a shock. Yeah, you're right in saying that, man. Yeah.
And it was a reminder for me, because it's only the second time I've gone back to Uruguay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I went in 1998.
Sure.
And it was just a reminder about how lucky I am.
Yes, indeed.
For what my parents did for us.
That's right, man. Yeah,
so
indeed.
As much as I loved being back, and I can't wait to go back.
I'm sure.
Australia has probably given me something that Uruguay couldn't have.
I'm sure. Yeah. Indeed. We were very fortunate to live in a country like Australia. Very international, very, so much you can do here, and the support and everything. And, you know, and even someone as yourself, you know, to be able to have a career in dance, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that in many places in the world, you know.
I know a lot of amazing dancers from Uruguay that I've met on my travels,
Mm.
but can they do what we're doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not.
Even the numbers, you know, it's such a
Yeah.
small country, you know. Yeah, yeah. And your wife, where is she from? She's also Latina, no?
Yes, más o menos.
Okay.
She España. She's from Spain.
Well, she's Latina, of course she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Española, of course, man. Our brothers and sisters from the motherland,
Yes,
they're
this
more
is
Latin
true.
than we are. Yeah. Okay, no, because I saw the surname, you know, on social media, and I remember, okay, his missus is.
Yeah.
And I guess that should have been a warning when I stuffed up and said, you know, your missus is Sarah, because I stuffed up during the week. I said, oh yeah, you coming with your missus with Sarah Fichera, and he goes, nah, man, that's my brother's wife. I was like, oh fuck, stuffed that up. But being twins, at least I got that excuse, you know. Yeah, and I'm sure it's not the first time. What area in Sydney are you guys from?
Annandale.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's where we live at the moment. So
sure.
we grew up out west, Mount Druitt.
Oh, the Druitt. Oh man, shout out to Mounty County, man.
Yeah.
Mount Druitt.
So we grew up out there, but then
Sure.
about 23, 24
Okay.
in the west and stayed there because that's where our school was, and that's where
Okay, awesson.
went from
Yeah, that's a
there.
nice change, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Close to the city, close to because you guys used to hang out at Rio's, no, back in the day.
Well, that was before my dancing time. Jamie used to be there all the time.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Jamie
yeah.
and my sister Rio
Sure.
Zipara.
Yeah.
So we used to do Rios and we used to do BJ's Nightclub.
Of course, didn't we
Yeah.
all? Yeah, that's the circuit. It's circuito.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can relate very much so. And in that sense, obviously our stories are intertwined. You know, Uruguay,
Yeah.
Latin, Sydney, Latin community performing, the nightclubs, then later on
Yeah.
the festivals and everything, which is cool. And it's been a cool ride. And I remember a few times where you guys have joined us, yourself, your brother, LDA, in some
Yeah.
of the events that we've done. And we might get to a little bit of that later. But when does Nestor become a dancer? Like, where do you go from I like to dance, like a lot of Latinos do, go to the clubs, you know, meet nice girls, have a few drinks and have a dance, or even dancing at home, which is something that we do a lot. Where do you become a dancer? Because that's, you know, that's a bridge that you got to cross.
I didn't like Latin dance or music at all growing up because it was forced upon us. So I was always pushing it away. So I was, before hitting the Latin nightclubs, I was at the dance, Wild FM.
Oh, wow.
Any party, podiums.
You get along with this bloke then.
But then what happened? I became a bricklayer, and so I was going from work, home, clubs, and that was my cycle.
Sure.
But Jamie started dancing and was, you know, I saw him hanging out with women all day, and
Killing
I was
it with the chicks.
laying bricks all day, and I was like, hold on a second, this doesn't match.
This doesn't Something
then
doesn't smell right in.
So then I started to dance.
Yeah.
But then I fell in love with the dance and
Sure.
been doing it ever since.
So where did you start dancing? Like what? Like, you know, was it like into dance lessons, or how did it begin?
So I used to go to BJ's Nightclub.
Sure.
But I used to hang around in the R&B room.
Sure. Yeah, the back room.
And so Jamie used to dance on the front in the Latin room.
Sure.
Where Sonora Galaxia.
Of
and
course.
all that used
Yeah.
to play.
Candela. Yeah. Son
that's it.
Veneno.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I used to watch, but I didn't know how to dance.
Okay. Sure.
I knew how to dance merengue because, you know,
easy.
our parents make us dance merengue.
That's right. Yeah.
Everything
Borrachito.
with la cumbia step. Everything.
Yeah, I know. Anyone can dance.
Yeah.
Even Paulie.
But then
Thank you.
at the age of 23, I did my first dance lesson. Jamie was my teacher.
Ah, okay, man. Awesome. So Jamie's the teacher, brother and teacher. That's
Brother
pretty
and
cool.
teacher.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then it took off from there. After the first lesson, I was hooked.
Awesome, man.
Actually, after the second lesson, I went out dancing to a club. My sister took me.
And it worked.
I was going to give this a go.
Yeah.
And so all these people were looking at me because they recognized me,
That's right.
but they didn't know who I was
Yeah.
because they knew Jamie.
Yeah, that's
didn't
right.
know he had a twin.
I'll get you.
So then these ladies come up and asked me to dance. She goes, "Oh, are you Jamie's twin?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, let's have a dance.
Uh-huh.
So I went onto the dance floor with her, and I started very basic.
1, 2, 3.
5, 6, 7. 30 seconds into the dance,
Yeah.
she goes, "Excuse me, my friends are calling me."
Oh,
She left me middle of the dance floor.
rejected. Well, she was probably expecting.
She was a teacher, and she was
of
expecting
course,
much
not fair,
higher.
not fair, not fair.
So I went home and I made a decision.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get better,
fucking do this.
and I know that I'm gonna be better because the next
Yeah.
time she asks me to dance,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Uh-huh. Oh, really? Wow. So you
6
wanted her to come to you after seeing you
Yeah.
kick ass on the dance floor.
So 6
It's
months
like a
later,
movie. It's like a teen movie, you know?
6 months later, she
Yeah.
asked me to dance,
Really?
and I said no.
Oh, my man, stuck staunch.
I felt good for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then about 2 or 3 songs later, I
Yeah.
went and I asked her to dance.
Beautiful.
And then we became really good friends.
Oh, awesome.
I've been dancing ever since.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So where was the first lesson at? Do you remember where it was? Like what?
Yeah, it was at Copacabana in Parramatta.
Okay.
Because LDA used to run classes from there. It was
Sure.
like second story up on Church Street.
Yep.
They used to have Latin nights there.
Yeah.
That was the first one I used to. That's the first place that I learned. But
Okay,
it was
cool.
with LDA.
If you would have known then what you know now as far as where that was all going to take you, right? Because this has been a constant ride for you almost ever since, I would imagine.
This was
right?
never planned.
Yeah.
And where I am today, I never would have imagined.
That's right. Yeah. Because you
Yeah.
guys, man, you guys are hugely successful and you've been doing it forever. So that full power to
Yeah,
you.
going close to 20 years now.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's about
And-
18 at the moment.
And LDA obviously pulling into the city of Sydney on the Broadway, which is Parramatta Road, which
Yep.
turns into the Broadway on the left-hand side there. You can see the sign and
Yeah.
everything when you drive past. You got all the levels. It's 3 levels, right?
We've got 3 levels, plus
Yeah.
we have another studio in Alexandria.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to have all the links and everything up on our social
you.
media and everything,
Yeah.
so everyone can check all of this out, because we do get lots of people listening in that aren't necessarily from our circles or don't,
Yeah.
they may or may not know from about LDA yourself or even
Yeah.
myself. So we it's important that we share and network these things, so
Yeah,
people
sounds
can
good.
follow and come through. Now, so at 23, you become a dancer.
Yep. Well, I started learning to dance.
Start learning to dance.
Yeah.
At what point did you sort of leave the bricklayering and any other sort of work and become, let's say, full-time, a professional?
So about a year and a half, maybe 2 years later.
Okay, sure. It's quite quick, man.
Yeah, so an opportunity came up. It was just after the 2000 Olympics. Sorry,
Sure.
2000 Olympics was when I started dancing.
Yep.
And then there was a massive downturn in
Yeah.
construction site,
Ah,
construction industry, because all the Olympic venues were gone
sure.
and all the bricklayers that came from interstate
Yeah.
were taking up all the jobs.
Uh-huh.
And so what happened was I was with my brother's company. But at that point in time, things were very different. You couldn't dance for multiple companies, but I
Okay.
wanted to learn from multiple people to get better.
Sure.
So at that point in time, I was kind of roaming by myself,
Mhm.
different schools, and another school by a dancer called Oliver Pineda, Latin
Yeah.
Motion.
Oliver, yeah, another world champion
Yeah.
performer, no? Yeah,
Yeah.
Oliver. Shout out to Oliver, man.
Yeah, him and his business partner Natalia at the time,
Sure.
they had just broken up. So he was by himself, and he was gonna leave to go to Europe. And him and his girlfriend approached me and they said they had 2 options.
Sure.
Option number 1
Mhm.
was close. Option number 2 is leave someone running the school.
Sure.
And at that point in time, they offered me a full-time job
Wow.
running the school.
Uh-huh.
So I saw that as an opportunity to get out of bricklaying
Yeah.
and get into the dance industry and have
Mm.
more time to dance and get better.
Wow.
And it took off from there. I said yes.
Isn't it amazing the coincidences,
Yeah.
which aren't really coincidences in my opinion, but how things just sort of
Yeah.
unfold and happen the way they do,
So
that was the opportunity.
That's how I started full-time.
Uh-huh, sure.
Yeah.
That's very quick. I mean, a year and a half, that's nothing. Like when you think about it, right? I mean,
I'm very determined at everything that
Yeah.
I do.
Sure.
So if I decide I'm going to do something, I put 150% into
Awesome,
everything.
man.
Like a horse with blinkers.
Yeah, that's how you're going to smash cancer too, man.
Yeah, I definitely intend to get past this.
Yes, man,
Yeah.
definitely. You will, man. You will, my brother. So, all right, but then how does LDA come into the picture? What I know of LDA, I remember Marcia Pinheiro.
Marcia Pinheiro.
So,
Yeah.
she was the shout out to Marcia, by the way. Amazing, Marcia. Know her too long. If I say how long, then I'll have to start telling people my age, and I don't want to do that. So she founded LDA. Tell us a little bit about that story, please.
So this was before my time.
Yes,
But
that's right.
Marcia had a company called Swing Brazil.
Uh-huh.
And then she met Jamie.
Sure,
Jamie was, her prodigy, so to speak.
sure.
And then from there, she decided to open up Latin Dance Australia
Uh-huh.
with Jamie.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
And that's how the school started.
Okay, beautiful.
They went from being just Brazilian styles
To
Latin
everything, sure.
styles. Yeah.
And what year is that?
Oh, me mataste with that one.
En serio?
What are we now? About 2000?
Okay, so
Yeah,
around the same time.
2001.
Around the same time.
Yeah.
So at what point do you then join LDA?
So I started off with LDA.
Yeah.
I moved away for 3 years.
Mhm.
And then at the end of my 3-year contract with Latin Motion,
Sure.
LDA offered me a position as a director at the school because
Awesome.
they saw how far I'd come and they saw that I'd be able to
The
help.
potential, yeah.
And then that point, I think it was 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They offered me to become a partner of the school.
Oh, awesome.
I said yes. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So you've been at it for at least 14 years or so with LDA.
Yes.
If my maths
Yeah.
are correct. I was doing numbers in my head. Man, amazing. LDA, it's the force, or, it's extremely well known and respected. And another thing that comes up when you discuss Nestor Manuelian and LDA is world titles. I mean, we're not talking, I'm a great dancer, or I've done this festival. I mean, a world title is a world title. I don't know many world champions at anything,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting across from one. So 15 to 20 titles all up if you include
As a dancer, and as a coach.
choreographer, as a
Yeah.
coach. Yeah, correct. And with the different teams underneath the LDA umbrella. Is that correct?
Yeah, Modus Vivendi teams.
Sure.
But, Modus Vivendi is the production team, the
Sure.
performance competition teams
That's
that I
right.
run.
Sure.
But they're all under the LDA umbrella.
Sure.
Yeah.
So these are these. If we could describe for people at home, you've got like some of even the teachers perform, and they're like the
Yeah.
pro kind of teams.
So
no?
we
Like
have pro teams
Sure.
all the way to student teams.
student level. Sure.
And then we have what they call master division, which is people over 50.
Okay. Sure.
And then we have the amateurs, which are people coming through,
Sure.
but they're not in the professional ranks
Not yet. Yeah.
So we got teens, we got couples, we got soloists, we
Awesome.
got professional couples, pro-ams, which is teacher-student.
Sure.
So yeah, we do the work.
So let's begin perhaps with your own kind of titles, let's say.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about those. Like, what are they? What styles? And is it they're generally in couples, no? You and Katrina.
Mixed. So me and Katrina won our first title 2012
Okay, cool.
in bachata.
Katrina Quintal.
Katrina Quintal.
Shout out to Katrina.
Yeah.
A beleza do Portugal.
Yeah. She might not understand you though, because her Portuguese is not the best.
I'm sure she'll understand that, Nestor. I mean, come on, bro. It's funny when you meet people from a country and they're like, I don't really speak that language. I'm like, oh, fuck. If we feel bad, I'm sure they feel even worse. Get your Portuguese woman. Good on you, Katrina. Awesome.
Yeah.
Another super talented, super dedicated, respected, known, ambassador for dancing in Australia.
I would say that my success
Yeah,
has gone hand in hand together with her.
sure,
Because we've done pretty much 99% of everything together,
sure.
competing together, traveling together, running our teams together, our
Sure.
students together.
She's also very involved with LDA.
She's a partner.
She's a partner as well.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. I thought so. I didn't
Yeah.
want to say it, but
And
yeah.
so all the Modus Vivendi teams are run by me and her.
Mm-hmm.
As the senior instructors, coaches, choreographers.
Awesome.
And we run the pro teams as well.
But you started dancing together, as in a couple.
No. She joined my team as a student.
Oh wow! Seriously? Okay, cool. Awesome.
And then she's come up the ranks and
Okay, I didn't know that. All right,
Yeah.
that's cool, man. So in 2012, you guys decided to have a crack at a title, and you won.
yep. And it was held in Hong Kong.
Wow,
Um,
that's bachata.
that was bachata.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And that
Bachata. One second, brother. Sorry.
That's
Bachata. For those that don't know, it's a rhythm that comes out of the Dominican Republic. very sensual, a little bit slower and sort of less hitting than perhaps some of the other styles, but still very technical.
At its core, yes.
Yeah.
But it's the evolution of the dance has changed because the evolution of the music has changed.
Sure.
So there's really fast bachata.
Yeah.
There's very slow bachata.
Sure.
So it just depends on what you listen to.
Okay,
But
yeah.
competition, most of the time you have to be hard hitting and you have to be fast. Because you got 2 minutes and you got to throw everything in there.
Of course, I get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm sort of trying to make a comparison between bachata and, you know, like salsa and all these other styles,
Yes.
which are, you know, like on
Yeah.
steroids almost, like,
Yes.
you know, the spins and everything and
Yeah.
like throwing people up in the air. So 2012 bachata champion in Hong Kong, please
Yep.
tell us about that. bro.
So that was our first title, and then from there it just started to accumulate.
Yeah.
But the reason why we did that 2012
Yeah.
was because I ran Latin Motion for 3 years, and that's where Katrina joined me.
Uh-huh.
And what I saw is that as a business, by having World Championship on your website,
Of course.
you don't even have to be in the country, and people come flocking to your school.
Indeed. Yeah.
So then when I started running LDA, I was like,
we need some
we need more
titles.
titles.
Yeah.
Because that is a huge
Yeah,
promotional tool in
man.
itself.
Yeah, it's a business card. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why we aimed at 2012
Sure.
to win that first one. And it took, I mean, after we won that first one, the confidence to start doing more and,
Of course.
and pushing more just started from there. Mind you, I've lost a lot more than what I've won,
Yeah.
but we've been fortunate enough to win a lot as well.
Sure. And when you say world title, I mean, like, how many countries are represented in that? Is it like
So it depends
Sure.
on where you go. Depends. Like now there's more championships than what there used to be.
Sure.
So it's not like football where you have one World Cup.
Understood.
It is more like boxing where you
That's
have
right.
different
Yep,
federations.
indeed. IBF and all these
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Sure.
And so that's what's happened with the Latin street Latin dance one.
Yeah.
It used to be one, but now it's so big
Sure. Yeah.
that there's multiple. And
Yeah.
so depending on, I mean, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
But the one that when we won Hong Kong, there was 13 couples from around the world.
Sure.
But now when we go to the World Latin Dance Cup, which is the biggest one, there's 40 countries from around
Wow.
the world participating across all divisions.
Yeah.
Um,
It must be harder nowadays, right?
yeah, the dance, if you look where it was back in 2012 and where it is now,
Sure.
it went from street dancers putting on a show
Yeah.
to then street dancers getting trained. Now trained dancers are coming into the street world,
Uh-huh.
and it's a completely different ballgame.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Very competitive,
Yeah.
pro. Yeah. On another
Good thing
level.
for us is that we have tried to stay in touch with the changes,
Sure.
and I guess on point with the way things go.
Sure.
So that's why we've had success for over the last 10 years.
Wow.
Because instead of staying where we were, we've got
Progressed.
ourselves training and bringing in all these extra things that needed to be added that people were now doing. So with the evolution of the dance, we went with it as opposed to getting stuck.
I get you. Yeah. And so 2012 is the first one.
Yeah.
And then tell us about some of the other ones, because there's a few of them there.
So the next one that came up was 2013.
Sure.
But that wasn't me. That was Katrina and her girls team, and that was a big one because that was it was held in the US.
Yeah.
And Katrina, I remember clearly, I said to her, I was watching her team train, I was helping her train. I said, "You've got to take this team to the Worlds." She's like, "No, I don't know how it's going to go." I said, "You take this team to the Worlds, you're going to win."
Wow.
Because they were training so hard, so in sync.
What style?
Salsa.
Opa.
It was all ladies sing.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And
How
so
many performers?
There was 8 on stage.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there was no Latinas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Katrina technically would be.
Well, yeah.
Again, sorry to get technical on the Latin thing, but technically, but anyway, yeah.
So we
Yeah.
had what do we have? We had 2 girls Australian.
Sure.
We had a Syrian girl.
Yeah.
What else do we have? I mean, she's Portuguese.
Yeah.
And I forgot where the other one's from.
But that's the beautiful thing about
Yeah.
Australia, right?
So multicultural.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing.
The other thing, Australia is so sports orientated.
Of course, yeah.
That we train really hard for everything, and
Yeah.
that's what I was seeing in them. And so going up to the World Latin Dance Cup, you're going up against some of the best, not just dancers but Latin countries.
Sure, of course. Yeah, indeed, man. You're taking
so-
on like the OGs, like
Yeah.
yeah.
And so whenever we do competitions, I study and I look at the competitions.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I look at the competitions.
Yeah.
And so what I saw was we have amazing dancers, but they're not born with that Latin rhythm.
Sure.
So then
That's the challenge.
speaking with Katrina, I was like, okay, if we take the team, we train them hard, we get them in sync, we get them moving the best possible, we move them around as much as we can with different formations, dazzle the judges with that.
That's right. More the technicality, let's say,
Yeah.
than the sabor, than the flavor.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if we can outmatch them in that,
Yeah.
they can have as much flavor as I like,
Yeah.
but if they're messy
Yeah.
and they don't have as much
I get
intimacy,
you. Yep.
we can outpoint them.
Yeah.
And so they've gone and they've won.
It's almost like a boxer scoring points versus looking good, like even though everyone looks good because it's dancing,
Yeah.
but the technical side is there.
Yep.
You're hitting all your marks. You're ticking all the boxes as far as the judging,
Yeah.
because ultimately that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
It's not what
Yeah.
what you think is the best or what that the street thinks is the best. It's about what the judges.
Yeah.
Right. And that's in 2013
Yep.
in the States. That's another world championship. And
Yep.
you
Actually, I lied. Was it 2013 or 2012? 2012. At the end of 2012, December.
same year.
We won February in Hong Kong,
Okay.
and then the girls won
Sure.
in December 2012.
And your titles as a performer,
Yeah.
are there any other ones there?
Yeah, so the next year, 2013,
Sure.
I started competing with my bachata team, my pro team.
Sure.
At that point, Katrina was focusing on the girls. She helped me choreograph the team, but I was dancing in the teams. And so that particular team, we've gone to the Worlds 4 times.
Wow.
And we won 4 years, and we haven't lost over there yet
Wow.
in bachata.
Incredible. That's
So,
incredible, man. Well
yeah.
done. Congrats. I think anyone can have that golden year, like that where everything was just in line for you, but to come back, over and over and win,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And then as a choreographer / teacher and as a director of LDA, LDA's got all these massive titles, 15 to 20 titles. So many titles that you've lost count by the sounds of it, because you can't even tell me
Well.
the exact number. Oh, you've got the stars.
So,
Can we get that on too, Paulie? Got all the stars
so that's
there.
Motos of Andy. So
Sure,
I
yeah.
started with the 1 star because of
That's right.
football.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
top of the emblem.
Yeah,
you
that's
have a
right.
star.
Yeah, of course.
And then I started adding, and then last year my wife said, no more stars. So the
Really?
ones from last year I haven't put on there.
You
but
should have a couple more.
yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's like the national football teams and even
Yep.
the clubs, when they win, they add a star to their jersey. You
Yep.
know, so you got the national emblem for the like the football association with all the stars.
With the stars, yep.
And of course, us being Uruguayans, we know all about that because we've got 4. Some people say we should only have 2, but
It's 4.
it's 4. That's right. No fighting. No, that's awesome, man. So some of the highs and some of the lows of this, this competition life with LDA, because I'm sure there must have been some moments where whether you're exhausted, or I know a lot of the times when people compete, they speak of bad. They have bad feedback, because of the judges. There's a lot of disappointments, let's say, and
Yeah.
the team that won shouldn't have won, and that one slept with one of the judges, or this kind of thing, right? I'm not saying that's what's happened, but I'm
Yeah.
just giving you an example, because sometimes people go, "Oh no, everything was good."
My
We
wife
want-
is
we want some
listening. I
bad.
slept with none of the judges.
Oh, you do what you got to do. No, but so some of the highs and some of the lows, or whatever comes to mind from all those years of competing, because you guys are still competing.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
till this day, I mean, I know COVID obviously has slowed things down, I'm
Yeah.
sure, but what's the highs and what's the lows in that competition life as a dancer?
Look, for me as a coach, I have taken a lot of people overseas.
Sure.
So I don't like when my dancers get upset. Not when they don't win, because that's all part and parcel,
Sure, of course.
right? But when they don't win, sometimes I feel responsible for that if they get upset.
Of course. Yeah.
But it's also a learning curve that they need to know that you can never go there and expect to win.
Of
Because you
course.
go into the world.
Yeah.
But if you don't win, you
Yeah.
just got to pick yourself up, work harder, and go
Sure,
again.
sure.
You know,
Enjoy
So-
the ride too, right?
Of course,
as
yeah.
much it's as much about that as anything else, you know. Yeah,
And so sometimes that kind of like feel responsible for
Yeah.
it, but at the same time, I'm responsible to teach them
Yeah.
not to win,
sure.
to be better dancers. And so
Yeah,
that is sometimes low when you find some dancers that just
Yeah.
take it too much to heart.
yeah.
I had one particular dancer who I was dancing with her in the pro-ams, teacher student. And going there, she lost all her confidence. And she was like, I can't believe I'm going. So we got there. And she got past the first round. She was happy. It's the best thing that's ever happened. So then she was like, all right, I want to get past the next round. And the next round was the semi-finals. It's like, all right, let's do this. We got past the semi-finals.
Wow.
At the end of it, she made the finals. So she ended up top 6 in the world.
Wow.
She didn't even expect to get that far.
Sure.
At the end of the final, she ended up in 6th place. But she was so upset.
Really.
And she didn't want to talk to anybody.
Wow.
And in the rest
Really?
of the trip, because we had a little
Yeah.
bit of an extended holiday, she
Yeah.
was really upset.
Yeah.
But about 2 years later, her video pops up on Facebook as a memory. And she messaged me and she goes, I can't believe I ruined that occasion for
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I should have appreciated what
Yeah,
happened.
the ride. Yeah,
this,
of
this, and
course.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So probably then the disappointment or the emotional side, perhaps, because it's almost like emotional. All these things,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But that's about it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest disappointment
Sure,
that I
sure.
sometimes encounter situations that I
Yeah.
can't help.
Yeah, I think it's almost paternal, right? It's almost like because you feel
Yeah.
for you know for your students,
like my
right?
kids,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Of course, in many ways, yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine school teachers could relate too
Yeah.
when you know when their students fail at anything, and then perhaps some of the highs. I mean, beyond. I mean, I'm sure it's amazing to receive a title and but some of the other highs that you could share with us from that journey.
The very, very first championship I did
Sure.
was with a team. And we were on ESPN because ESPN used to play it live.
Oh wow.
And I went with the student team and I was up against professional teams.
Yeah.
Now, what happened? I had done a choreography to qualify, which was themed Braveheart, because there's a band called Salsa Celtica, which is a salsa band from Scotland,
Wow.
and they play with bagpipes and everything.
Oh wow. Okay.
So what I did was
Yeah.
I got us, in the qualifier here in Australia, I got us all dressed up in kilts and face paint like the movie, because it was my favorite
I've seen
movie.
that photo, man. I've seen that photo
Yeah.
with the cross on your face, no?
Yeah, the black and
I've
blue.
seen that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
So what happened, we took it to the championships. We
Yeah.
were the only ones in that kind of costume.
Okay.
And
Very original. Yeah.
student team against professional semi-finals, we came first.
Oh wow.
And I had just taken my student team out for the very first time out of the country. It was such a big high.
Yeah, I'm sure. The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the finals, we ended up placing 4th.
Wow.
And then we had done a better run.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, like I do every year, I have a private lesson with the head coach to find out how we can improve for the next year. And so I said to him, I said, how can we go from 1st to 4th if we did a better run and the other teams made mistakes? And he said, this is ESPN. We have to represent salsa.
Ah, okay.
You were all wearing kilts. That's not
yeah, a
salsa.
bit of like politics almost, right? Yeah.
Well, they needed ESPN. They wanted ESPN to represent salsa
Of course.
around the world.
Yeah. You know what?
So I got it. But yeah, I guess the biggest high was to get my students to that level.
Oh man.
And to learn that, we can take salsa all over the world.
Sure.
Even just with the student team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though you didn't win, you still got to that first level, right?
Yep.
So
And from then on,
really,
it was like,
yeah.
go, go,
So
go.
really, I mean, okay, cool. You didn't have the trophy, but the experience, the traveling, the
Yeah.
lights, the ESPN, the judges, the hotels and the team environment, and that's incredible, right? That's
Yep.
and I would imagine myself as a teenager. I remember watching. Now that you mention it, I remember watching Latin dance championships on ESPN.
Yeah.
Not that I sat there and actually, watched it for hours, but, sort of flicking through, wanting to watch football and be like, oh, Latin Dance Championships on ESPN.
Yeah.
and I would imagine seeing how serious and how, it is very visual. Dancing's very visual.
Yeah.
And the faces and and everything, part of the performance. And I would imagine seeing a whole bunch of Aussies running, dancing around in kilts would be quite interesting.
And there was a part of the song where they kick in with the bagpipes. So we did a bit of a jig.
Oh, really?
So we had this whole thing going through.
Yeah.
And at the end, we lifted up our kilts.
Oh, wow. So it was probably the people's choice that year, I would imagine.
Oh, we brought the house down, and it was fun. It was different.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did it was my students, again, going up against, the best in the world. They weren't going to have growing up or the technique they had. So
that's right.
The theme gave us a point of difference.
For the freedom.
Yeah.
What's his name? Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah, great movie, man. Shout out to Mel Gibson because I know he's watching. Hey, so you guys have with LDA serious student base. It's a big business.
Yep.
Well, give us an idea of the numbers, the schedules, because it's almost round the clock, right? Like Monday to Sunday.
At the moment, it's Monday to Saturday.
I know at the moment,
COVID.
but let's just put COVID aside for a second.
7 days a week.
Yeah, in a normal world.
Yeah.
How many teachers? How many students? How many lessons a day, a week? Give us an idea of what the LDA operations.
75 classes. That doesn't include private lessons, choreography teams.
Sure. Wow.
75 classes.
Wow, man, that's amazing.
Teachers, we have between 30 and 40 teachers.
Woo.
Active at the moment, we have 20 through COVID. So it's still, in comparison to other schools, still a lot.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, whether you compare or you don't, it's massive.
Yeah.
And we're in a country where, we don't have the biggest population, and we also we're not necessarily known for Latin dancing. So I think that makes the achievement even more remarkable.
Yeah, look, what we have in Australia is that we have a very sporting culture.
Oh, yes, no doubt,
So,
active.
So what people get into our school, there are two ways. Mainly for exercise.
Sure.
And to socialize.
Socialize, yeah, that's right.
So that's been our biggest forte for people to come in.
Indeed, yeah. I would imagine it so, yeah. And then obviously some people would be because, I don't know, cultural thing or something, but generally
interestingly
speaking.
enough, the number of Latinos that used to come to class was very little because we learned to dance with our parents. We didn't go to our school.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then bachata came along.
Aha.
And nobody knew what bachata was.
Sure.
And we didn't grow up dancing bachata.
No.
So bachata,
it's a newer form as well, like in a bigger context,
So then bachata started bringing a lot of Latinos in. And it brought that attention to the dance scene. And then we had reggaeton classes, and reggaeton started getting popular mainstream.
Yeah, man, hell yeah.
Started bringing Latinos in for that. And then it started bringing them because we got a massive influx of Colombians. Because in the last maybe 5-6 years, a big influx of Colombians.
Huge.
And they've been joining our salsa classes.
Huge.
So now we have a combination of fitness, social, and culture.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
And Deborah Lee's still in the building?
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
She her and her team, man, the few times that I don't get to see them enough, I must admit, man, but I love seeing, I see a lot of salsa over the years. I see a fair bit of bachata, but rarely do you get to see that level of reggaeton choreos, at least on this side of the world, or at least in my own life. You see a lot. You hear a lot of reggaeton in the clubs. You see a lot of people dancing reggaeton, but that professional level,
performance-wise,
wow, man, the power that those girls have and everything that they do, I love it.
Well, her classes,
wish we could do more.
Her classes before, even now they're booked out because we're a maximum of 20, but before COVID, 50, 60 people in a class regularly. Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, I think you will always ride the waves of the popularity of the sound at the time, right? Yeah, and reggaeton being the biggest music genre in the world, let alone within the Latin culture.
Yeah.
So that's awesome to see. And big shout out to Deb and all the girls doing their thing over in the reggaeton world. It's probably the biggest genre as far as the music, but it's not the biggest genre as far as the dance side.
Correct.
Because there's not that many competitions and it's not so formative as well, right?
Yes and no. And the difference is this.
Sure.
Salsa is a street style,
Yeah.
but because they were able to mix it with things like ballroom,
Of course.
then it was more formalized
Yep.
into competitions.
Yep.
So it gave more avenues for it.
That's
to
what
grow.
I meant as the format. It hasn't been formatted as the
Yeah.
the historically.
Bachata is the same. It went from a very simple dance
Sure.
to grow down the same path that salsa did
Yep.
as partner work and teams.
Yeah.
Reggaeton hasn't had
No.
that
No.
that format yet.
That's right. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was much closer to hip hop.
Yes.
In the dancing style in particular, and
Yeah.
very urban. So you don't have the ballroom aspect,
Yeah.
the side of things. So it's as simple as checking out LDA and becoming a member and jumping on board, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we do samba, we do fitness
Yeah.
classes,
Yeah.
salsa, Cuban salsa,
Yeah.
New York salsa, which is just different timing
That's right.
and slightly different structure, but the rhythm is basically the same.
Yeah. But it's still fun to jump from one to the other and learn the differences.
Of course, I always explain it this way: you can speak Spanish in Uruguay, in Argentina,
That's right.
Chile, not so much. No, I'm kidding.
They speak Chilean.
In Spain, and
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have the same language, just
That's
a
right.
different accent.
Yeah, I get you.
But
I
if
get
you can understand everybody's accent
Yeah.
and slang, you can speak wherever.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
Yeah,
with
it's
dance.
just the little flavors that are different, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing too, I mean, obviously Jamie's been there with you all the way. You've worked with your brother for forever, really.
Yeah.
What's that like, man? What's it like working with your brother, and how come you haven't teared each other's hair out? Because I'm sure
Well, if you look at him, he's gone and left now.
that's the only way I can tell the difference, man. I mean, I know if I put you side by side, obviously we can work it out. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, at least in the last couple of years, no, you've got hair and he's got no hair. That's it. That's how you know the difference, no? Shout out to Jamie.
Look, we've had our differences, and that's
Of
why
course.
at one point I moved away from LDA,
Nothing wrong
and
with
then
that.
I've come back. And
Sure.
a lot of the time it comes down to different way of working, different way of thinking.
Indeed.
And I think with any business partnership,
Of course.
brothers or not,
No doubt.
you have differences,
No doubt.
but then you have your similarities, which is what keeps you together.
That's right. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes you got to remember that. Yeah.
Like even if you look at dance styles, Jamie loves dancing his Cuban, his on to New York style,
Okay, sure.
and another style called Zouk,
Yeah.
Brazilian Zouk.
Sure.
Whereas I like my on one salsa, which is they call LA salsa,
Sure.
and I love my bachata.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Cool.
So those differences have allowed us to build up different
Sure.
areas and meet in the middle.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've often said it's better to have partners that bring something to the equation that you don't have, right? Because if you both come from exactly the same walk or exactly the same market or exactly the same database or demographic, then you kind of cancel each other out.
Yep.
Whereas, if you kind of meet in the middle with your side and their side, then obviously you double potentially your capacity, which is a good thing. And I think everyone should remember that for any business. So
Well, that's it. Like at first, I was
Yeah.
compared to Jamie,
yeah,
so I had to go out and create myself.
sure.
Otherwise, I was always just going to be a replica.
Yeah.
And
Any
since we're
shadow,
twins,
of
it's
course.
easy to do that.
Indeed.
We can move the same. Everything,
Look
same
the
body
same,
shape,
yeah.
look the
Yep.
same. So then the opportunity to run Latin Motion helped me recreate myself. So then
It's a good call.
Yeah. So
good call, yeah.
look, everything happens for a reason.
Indeed. Yeah.
You know, and when we came back together, it was a matter of two different styles, two different forces coming together instead of just the one.
And you were coming from a more of a position of strength,
Yeah.
versus the other way probably would have been seen and felt more like a favor. The brother.
Yep.
Whereas
Yeah.
you kind of
Well, look, there were instances at different events where they would say, well,
Yeah.
I've already got one brother, I don't need the other one. And that happened on multiple occasions.
I'm sure.
I would get hired and not him, even though we would bring two different styles.
Sure.
Or he would get hired and I wouldn't.
Okay.
And it wasn't until we both, especially me, because he was already
Established. Yeah.
established myself. And it was when I started winning the championships. It was like, okay.
You got someone's attention. You got
completely
people's
different
attention. Yeah. And beyond the teaching and the classes, LDA does a lot of events and stuff. You guys do a couple of real big calendar events every year. Maybe not this year, but LDA Ball and Sydney Latin Festival.
Which is now the Sydney Salsa Mambo Convention.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
as of last year.
Sure.
And Sydney Bachata Festival.
Okay.
We have different partners for those two events.
Sure.
So LDA together with Graham Henney.
Yep.
We
Graham,
do,
yeah. Shout out to Graham.
yeah, Salsa Mambo Convention.
Yeah.
And then with the Bachata Festival, two other partners, Juan Ruiz from Tropical Soul.
Sure. Yeah.
and
Tropical Soul. Shout out to Juan.
Sky Blue from Picante Latin Dance.
Okay, sure. Shout out to her as well. Sky.
So we work on those different events.
Sure.
And then we have another one, Inner West Fiesta.
At
which
in
is a
Marrickville.
new-
In Marrickville, sure.
Yeah, which is
Sure.
a new one that we started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was building up really good.
Sure.
But that's just LDA for the community, general public,
Yeah, yeah.
not just the schools.
Not dancer driven. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So on top of everything, we've got, and then you got the weekly stuff happening as well. You got your social get-togethers and everything that you do on the weekends. So
Yeah, so I-
plenty going on.
Specifically me, I run the school socials. We run 2 a month. 200-300 people every night, which is
Wow.
good for the school. I mean, it's great for the school.
Amazing, yeah. Gives them a chance to show off what they've learned.
Yeah.
no?
So what we do is we create an atmosphere within the school
Yeah.
that gets them comfortable to then go out to the nightclubs.
Sure.
Because not everybody's
The break through that social barrier, no?
comfortable
Yeah.
to come in, learn how to dance, and hit the nightclub straight away.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So that's the reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. It's almost, you teach them how to dance and then you take them out to show it off and break
Yeah.
the ice.
And then from there, they get to do different nightclubs, different festivals. They
Sure.
travel with us interstate, overseas to different festivals. So
Wow.
they get a lot more than just a dance lesson.
Yeah. Well, brother, I can see in your body language, in your eyes, and the big smile that this is close to the heart.
Yeah.
The dance and LDA and your students and that incredible snowball that you've built over the years. Because
Yeah.
it started small, right? So you've built this giant ball of love
Well,
and
look,
success, man. So full power to you guys.
Dancing aside, it's
Yeah.
the whole community that we've been able
Sure,
to build.
very fulfilling, right?
Amazing.
Sure,
Amazing.
it's beyond the financial success.
And as a
Yeah.
Latino,
Yeah.
the fact that people come into the dance school and then from the dance, they start listening to our music.
Of course.
And then they start looking to see where their countries are, because we teach them where the dancers are from.
Of course. Yeah.
And then we teach them about the foods and everything. And
Yeah.
so then they go out and they start eating.
Yeah.
The amount of people
Yeah.
that ask what they love asado is great.
Well, I mean, that's why during the week when I was searching for words to present you to let the world know who it is that's coming, the word Latin ambassador came up because, you are. I mean, dance and music is a huge part of our culture. It's one of the many bright stars in our culture, in our wider Latin American culture, and it's a big part of our lives.
Yep.
Whether we recognize it or feel it or not, it is. It's always been there and always will be. And around the world, you can go to Tokyo, you can go to Africa, you can go to the middle of Europe, anywhere in the world, and you will find Latin American music and dancing because it goes hand in hand together, obviously. So
here's an interesting thing. I've been able to teach in places like all over Southeast Asia.
sure.
But even last year in the mountains of Nepal.
Oh wow,
So for me to
Interesting.
go teach salsa and bachata there was like
man!
mind blowing.
Wow, that's cool,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to Nepal.
Yeah, Nepal is really nice.
I can imagine. Wow, man. No, I wouldn't have thought that, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably as far away as you can get, man. Be good to do some bachata in Mongolia.
Yeah, well, there's a school there. When we did, we were
Yeah.
doing online classes
Sure,
and choreographies during the full lockdown.
sure.
And so we had 4 dancers from Mongolia who signed up for our
Oh,
courses
wow.
because we were doing them online.
There you go,
They
Mongolia.
do dance there as well. Yeah.
You shut my mouth. Me tapaste la boca. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah,
great
true
to
story.
hear. And we've probably covered way over the top, but we've got this a picture for our audience to see and to feel what this ride has been like, and then we've got this segment on the show
Yep.
that we call Show and Tell, and we present some photos, sometimes some videos, some photos, It's mainly obviously for our more for our YouTube viewers than our Spotify and Apple Podcast our listeners. But yeah, so we do this little exercise where we go through and pick out some images that we thought would be cool to help to put together some of these stories and to present our guests. And we would invite you to make some comments on what it is that you see on the screen, man. So that's the time when I have to wake Paulie up. Thankfully today he's awake. I think because it's middle afternoon here in Sydney. Tell us about this one here, hermano Nestor.
So that was the time that Vin Diesel came to visit us.
Yeah. I can see Vin Diesel there on the left.
So this was backstage LDA ball.
Sure.
So on the right, shorter, her name is Lydia.
Sure.
So she started Motors Vivendi with me.
Okay, sure. She's like the founder
of Motors Vivendi with me.
Okay, awesome. I saw a few photos with her in it.
Yeah. And so I used to travel with her as well.
Okay, cool.
And then Katrina came along and started doing most of the traveling with me, joined my team.
Yeah.
And then together to LDA, we came and partnered up with Jamie and Marcia.
Sure.
At this point, Marcia wasn't in the picture anymore.
Sure.
Because she had retired from the school.
Sure, yeah.
And these four, or the photo that you see now, we were business partners together before the current setup, which we then merged with another school called Latin Dance House.
Okay.
With Johnny and Amy Campos. And that's the studio that we got in Alexandria. So this was just before that.
Okay, cool, awesome, beautiful. Yeah. Big smiles.
Yeah, well, this was the LDA ball. The LDA ball for us is our favorite event of the year. It's specifically for our students.
Sure, no competition, it's just showcasing.
NIDA.
Okay, wow, nice venue.
Yeah,
nice venue.
About 200 performers from the school performing in front of 700 people in a theatre.
Family, friends, they get the show off, no? Show off the, And is this, I'm just wondering because of the big smiles, before or after the show?
This would have been after because we were in costume. So we performed it towards the end. Yeah,
that's probably why. You're high, right? You're full of adrenaline and butterflies and you're feeling good, right? You're feeling good. Yeah, awesome, man. Great photo. It's a shame those who aren't on YouTube can't see it, but it's the guys backstage having some fun and quick photo, big smiles. Thank you, Paulie.
So that's me and Katrina, as you can see.
My face was, it says there.
My face was much rounder back then.
That's time.
So this was, I think, our second choreography together.
Sure.
She was already performing with me in Motors Vivendi, which is my pro team.
Sure.
And this was pretty much... This is what kicked off our dance partnership.
Yeah, I was just looking at the year from what you've told me. I would imagine this is almost like the beginnings, of the whole competition and everything. No, yeah, awesome, brother. Looking good, looking sharp in one of those moments when you kind of stop and look at the judges, kind of thing. No, yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, that was in Malaysia.
Okay, cool, Malaysia.
Yeah, James been to some. MSF.
How many countries off the top of your head? Rattle off some of the countries you guys have been to with your performing and competition.
New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Hong Kong.
Shout out to New Zealand.
India, Nepal. Been to England, Italy, US, Hawaii.
Wow.
Tahiti.
We've got a couple of photos from Tahiti that we're gonna share. Maybe not so competition driven those, but they're about to come up, man. So we'll go through to the next one there, Paulie. Haven't been around the world. Now we can go to our next photo. The reason why I picked this photo, this would be quite early in the piece as well, and I remember seeing that hairstyle around. Explain to us what's going on there.
So that started off as a joke.
Okay,
and then
cool.
it became my thing.
All right, beautiful.
And then I was told to remove it. I'll tell you why I was told to remove it.
Sure.
So I started off with a little patch. And then a teacher that used to emulate a lot of stuff that I do at our school came the next day with the same patch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So then as a joke, I did a whole stripe to see whether he'd do the same.
Sure.
And everybody liked it. And so I kept it.
Yeah.
But then that year I went to the World Championships and I had my stripe.
Yeah.
And we didn't win that year.
Sure.
And at the end of it, I said to the head judge, I said, okay, so I'm there with my team. I brought my whole team to listen so they can learn
Yeah,
as well.
feedback, yeah.
And I said, so what is something that we can do to win our titles?
No way.
And he said, you're the leader of the team? I said, yep. He
No
goes,
way.
you want to look like a team? Yep. You want them to be part of a team with you? Yep.
Yeah.
So why do you have your hair like
¿Qué hijo de puta? ¿En serio?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, next year,
Yeah,
everyone
go
had black hair. But this is what happened. The following year,
yeah.
a team from Ecuador and a team from Colombia came.
Yeah.
The whole team had blonde stripes.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I should have got my team to do that.
Well, the whole team, not just you, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. It
So-
reminds me, it wasn't Maradona. No, I can't remember. Someone
Maradona got it, but years after.
Maradona, yeah, Maradona in Boca, no? When
Yeah,
he was in
yeah,
Boca, I
when he
think
was in Boca.
he had a stripe on his head like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome,
at the studio.
Sure.
I can tell by the background.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Awesome. Good times.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paulie. Now, we're holding a trophy. What's going on here, brother?
2012.
Uh-huh.
That's the first time me and Katrina won a world title.
Man,
that
congratulations,
was in Hong Kong.
brother. What a moment.
Yeah. Now that flag that is hanging off
Yes.
my back,
Yeah.
that's my good luck flag, and I've carried that to every single world title,
Uh-huh.
every single world championship that
Yeah.
I've traveled to, and I still have it.
Uh-huh, beautiful. I mean, the guys obviously representing Australia around the world, and what a moment. That describe for us a little bit. I mean, so I haven't been there myself. So do they put everyone on stage and say the winner, second, third, second, first? Is that do they do it like that, or how do they
Yes.
announce it?
Yeah, so they put it, they line up everyone on stage,
Sure.
and they
The
start from-
finalists
Yep.
are on stage. Yeah.
Actually, the whole
All of them.
whole competition.
Oh wow.
Of your division,
Of your division, of course.
and then
yeah.
they name fourth, third, second, and first.
Uh-huh.
So we had come second in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And so when they announced fourth, third, second, and hadn't announced us yet,
Man.
there was 50-50 chance. We either win or not even in the top four.
Yeah.
But we were pretty confident because we had done better than the semi-final. It was a
yeah.
different routine as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure enough, we won.
Man, what a great feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing.
Butterflies.
Well, look, I was told when I started competing at the Worlds that I was too old for it and I shouldn't try to win a world title because it wasn't something I could reach.
Right.
So when we did this, we didn't prove anybody wrong. We actually proved them right. And
Yeah.
the reason I say that was we had to train so much. We probably had to train more than anybody else to try and catch up the time that we'd lost.
Indeed.
That finally, when we got there and we won, that was after, I think I'd been competing, that was 2012, been competing for like 8-9 years or something. Finally got the trophy.
Wow.
Huge relief.
I can imagine, brother.
Yeah.
What a feeling. Congratulations, man.
Thank
Not
you.
many people are walking this planet, saying that they're world champion at anything. I mean, if someone came up to me and said, I'm the national champion, that's already like, wow, you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? But world champion, that's a huge, huge achievement.
Yeah.
For yourself, for your people in your school, your students, your family, your country, that's amazing. That's I mean, I think we might have had a bit of a conversation about this in the past, but we're in a country that kind of encourages the humble, quiet Aussie battler, thing. But man, like you're the motherfucking world champion, man. That's an amazing feeling, man.
Yeah,
Congratulations, man. Very
That
proud
was.
of you, man. Very, very,
Thank you.
very, very happy and honored to have a fellow Uruguayan Australian kicking ass, around the world, man. That's incredible,
Yeah.
man. Well done, man. And a few times, particularly since I've started the podcast, but also in the past, I've often thought to myself, we got some Uruguayans, doing their thing here in Sydney, man. Like Azuquita, Asado, we've got the Uruguayan Club, we've got you guys, there's a lot of people doing their thing, man. I'm really proud of that, man. I am. Even though we rarely get to sort of share it or even collab or do things together, it's beautiful to see, bigger
Yeah.
picture, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Look, I think for us, we're so focused on our dance world
I get you.
that it is a separate world.
Yep.
But we've had that crossover. We've
Yeah,
done
man.
events with you.
Yep.
I've performed at the Daniela Soquita's nights.
Yeah.
Every year I perform
Yeah.
at least once.
Yeah.
I've performed at events at the Uruguayan Club.
Sure. Yeah.
So I still get
to get out. Yeah.
I've performed at the Uruguayan
yeah.
Festival.
Yeah. Well, I'm giving you very much the outsiders opinion,
Yeah.
you know, of
Yep.
what it is that we see, you know, even though, like I said, we really get to sort of cross paths just because of the way the society is set up over here.
Yeah.
It's amazing, bro. It's really good, and like I said, I'm very proud, man. And what a moment to be, you know, holding a world championship trophy with your dance partner, who I'm sure you've spent thousands of hours, you know,
Yeah.
perfecting.
She was my best man at my wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My best man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that, man. Shout out again to Katrina.
Yeah.
Best man. Thanks, bruh. Next photo, please.
Yeah, we're just
Paulie.
going to put the next photo on it.
That's so funny. Oh, now, the reason why I picked this one,
Yeah.
I'm going to, real quickly, and then please take over. You know, you're going through a big challenge now, and then I'm looking at these photos and I go, well, here's a challenge, man, you know, going from one thing to another. Please, tell us what you see, man.
I see a naked body.
Nice undies.
So basically, when I started dancing, there was a period where I started to put on weight.
Sure.
And if I wanted to get back into shape to start winning again at
Yeah.
championships, I needed to do something about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I decided to take on this challenge through a company called Isogenics.
Yeah, of course. Isogenics, yeah, well known. Yeah.
Yep. And also because I had my wedding coming up and I wanted to look good because we were being Tahiti.
The old wedding,
Yeah.
wedding's coming up. I need to lose weight by my wedding thing.
Yeah. So I decided to document my journey because, one, I do live in the public eye as far as the dance industry is
course.
concerned.
Sure.
And I thought to myself, well, this is not just good for physically looking better,
Yeah.
it's also a good health change.
Of course.
And so
Feeling
I
better,
used to
yeah.
tell my dancers, if you want to win, you got to be the whole package.
Yeah.
But then as you can see, I wasn't the whole package. I was a package.
Yeah, that's right. You know, yeah. One pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I thought, well, if I document it, then I'm not just saying it. I'm also
Yeah, you're practicing what
practicing
you preach.
what I preach.
Yeah, indeed.
And that was the
indeed.
purpose for
yeah.
that. Yeah.
What year was this, brother?
So this was about 2 years ago, no, 3 years ago now.
It's quite recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite recent. 55-day challenge, is it, or something? Or
That was day 55. Yeah.
okay, cool. All right, awesome, man. Well, there you go, man.
So it was supposed to be a 30-day challenge.
Yeah.
But I kept going. So
Well, you know, we always like to say, man, on the show we're all about becoming the best version of ourselves, man. And, you know, what greater example than, you know, looking after the body and getting to where we want to be. Thanks, Paulie. I love this photo, man. Yeah, it's a cracker photo.
So this photo I was actually dancing with my wife. She made the costume. She's got a matching costume. She just happens to be lower down.
Out of the way. Well, when I see this photo, I see like a matador, like a matador, you know, a bullfighter, and going in for the kill. Very powerful. And obviously a lot of the Latin dance harks back to that ancestral Spanish rumba, pasodoble, you know, the whole thing of the dance with the
flamenco,
you know, flamenco, you know, so a lot of those very powerful moves. And actually, my favorite, I'm not saying this photo is pasodoble, but I think one of my favorite styles to watch is pasodoble. I just love the power and the wow, it's just so.
So for our competition pieces, to try and do something different to everybody else, we always look at other styles to get influence. And definitely Paso Doble is one that we look at a lot. Because of the strong lines, the strong attitude, the
very
strong
visual. I love it. And flamenco as well. We had Paco Lara on the show a couple of weeks ago, famous flamenco guitarist, and it took me back to being in Spain, watching flamenco shows and everything in La Granada and everything, and wow. I think it's in our blood as well, you know, so it kind of makes our DNA vibrate a little bit harder than anyone else.
I think all our music is influenced by Spanish culture.
Of course, no doubt about it. Yeah, of course. And that is actually a beautiful costume, man. I love the fabric. It's very.
Look, the photo doesn't do it justice, but when you see
yeah.
See, she made the costume, but all those little rocks that are on there. I did every single one for mine and for her costume.
Wow.
There were thousands and thousands. It took me hours
I can imagine, man.
but it was worth it.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's wearing like a red top, let's say, with
It's like a lace top.
lace top. Yeah, very
Yeah.
manly, and with all these little glitter things on it, which obviously
Diamantes, yeah.
diamantes. Yeah. Sorry, glitter. I don't know why I say glitter, but it's glittery.
Yeah, it shines a lot.
Yeah, that's right. It's
He
very
likes
shiny.
glitter.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Paulie. Next photo, please, my brother. This is the one that I wanted to get to.
So this is our first wedding
Sure.
in Tahiti,
In Bora Bora.
in Bora Bora.
Beautiful. Right.
So Bora Bora is a special place for us because
Sure.
I was getting hired to do work in Tahiti.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the trips, my first trip, we went together. And we weren't partners at the time, but we got together.
Ah, okay.
The second trip back,
Sure.
they asked us to do an event because we used to work in Papeete, and they wanted us to go to Bora Bora to work at one of the hotels there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought to myself, well, if we're going to Bora Bora, I can propose.
Wow.
It was 2 years after. And so what happened was we got to Papeete, but because of different government stuff, we weren't allowed to perform at the hotel in Bora Bora. But the promoter said to us, look, we've paid for your airfares, we've paid for your hotel, your food, everything. Just go on a 5-day holiday. So we're there for 5 days, and I proposed.
Let me think about it.
And so I proposed.
Okay. Wow.
Obviously, she said yes.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, with all my traveling to Tahiti and working with a promoter, her name is Hina,
Sure.
she developed a friendship.
Sure.
And one of the things that they wanted to do on their island was they wanted to start a Latin festival, but didn't have the knowledge to do so.
Yeah, networks and everything.
So then she asked me to trade. She said to me, if you help me, you bring you to Tahiti, you help me create the festival, you get married at the festival, do everything at
Wow.
once. And I said, look, I won't get married at a festival. Festival is work.
Yeah.
My wedding is my wedding.
Fair enough.
So she goes, all right, I'll make you a deal. You organize my festival in Papeete, I organize your wedding. I'm like, okay, but it has to be separate weekends.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, as long as you don't mind, we'll do it where my family is. And I said, okay, where's that? She goes, Bora Bora.
Let me think about it.
Call that
Horrible decision.
Beck, you want to get married in Bora Bora?
What?
So then
Yeah.
her family actually works at the hotel, but they have a motu, which is a little private island, where the people from the hotels go there for like a day,
Yeah, fair enough.
afternoon, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we ended up getting married on. So this is town hall. So this was the official paperwork.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And then the next day, we went to this private little island
Yeah.
where you could walk around in maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we got married there by the local priest and everything. It was amazing.
Man, what an experience. And we're looking at the guy's husband and wife, him putting the ring on her, I would say, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And, with the the flowers and everything.
We thought we were just going to go
arrangements
sign a book, but they organised this. There's about 12 of our friends there that on the side of the cameras.
Yeah.
That organised all these flowers and everything.
Yeah.
It was amazing,
It's beautiful, man. Congrats. What good times, right?
Yeah.
Good times. Thank you, Paulie. Aha. Vin Diesel makes another appearance. What are we holding there, brother?
So this was in Los Angeles
Sure.
at the LA Salsa Festival.
Uh-huh.
This was an international recognition award for our work
Ooh, very
around the
nice.
world of
Wow.
the salsa and bachata world.
What year is this, brother?
Oh, you got me with that. Was it
Recent
2000?
or?
Probably about 2016, 2017.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's a few years ago and already getting recognized for your work. So
there's a bit
testament
more to just the award. So there was a man called Albert Torres, which was the biggest promoter of salsa dance and music around the world.
Sure. What nationality was your brother? Sorry.
He's Puerto Rican, but from the US.
Okay, sure.
And so he had worked with the likes of Tito Puente.
Yeah.
Celine
He's that
Cruz,
generation, is he?
Yeah, all the big bands. And,
Sure, Fania.
Spanish Harlem Orchestra, Puerto Rican All Stars, and all of them. Like they were all always at his festivals, and that's who he worked with. So I had developed a working relationship with him because from when I took Braveheart, that was his competition.
Okay.
He took me under his wing and he helped me in many ways to become the professional that I am today.
Wow.
So when he went to present us the award, it was a big deal for us.
I'm
and
sure.
we were supposed to go to Los Angeles. But what happened was 2 months before he passed away.
Wow.
So at that point, we're like, it's a big shock to the whole Latin dance scene. But his right-hand man, Edwin, which is a good friend of ours now, he decided he was given the festival. It was cancelled. But then the month before, he goes, you know what, we need to run it for him.
Sure, yeah.
And so he put the festival together, and we flew over, and he presented us with the award.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
It was still managed to salvage the occasion, yeah?
So for me, it wasn't just the award, it was who it came from.
Of course.
For me, it was a big mentor for me.
Yeah.
Made a big difference in my
Very
life.
powerful recognition, yeah.
So to be recognized by him for what we were doing, and the fact that we got the award together as well,
Sure.
was a big deal.
Man, congrats, brother. Full power
Thank
to you
you.
guys, man. Both to you and Jaime. Doing their thing, representing Australia around the world. Next photo, please, Paulie. Now, obviously, I don't have to explain why this photo's in there. It's a cool photo, man.
Yeah,
Pretty-
so this is me and my wife, Rebecca.
Sure.
We danced together as well.
Uh-huh.
This was in Tahiti.
Sure, yeah.
So this was the trip that we got engaged.
Uh-huh.
And the photographer asked if he could do a photo shoot with us
Yeah.
on the beach. And
Yep.
we said yes, and this is one of the photos.
And so you guys met through dance?
Yeah, she used to live in Melbourne.
Okay.
She came to Sydney,
Yeah.
joined our school. I
So
did
she was a
the
student?
teacher-student thing.
Oh, wow. Okay,
She
cool.
went from a student all the way through to become a professional. She's one of our teachers.
Wow.
She's won world titles with our teams as well.
Oh,
She was
wow.
part of Katrina's team, the ladies team that won.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So she's an amazing
Fair
dancer
enough.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Obviously, my wife, amazing person
Well,
as well.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about dance.
And
you
she
know?
makes the costumes. Yeah.
You guys were meant to be, to have each other's backs. But that's the beautiful thing about dancing and these things, like music and everything is, the social aspect brings people together. So anyone out there needs a little bit of. I actually hear of a lot of guys over the years, and they say, I'm going to take up some dancing lessons because I want to meet some girls. I was like, you know what, do it.
The hardest thing about starting to dance is getting into the studio.
Yeah, that's right. Starting.
But then the
That's-
hardest
yeah,
thing
yeah.
is to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's it, yeah.
And there's so many couples that have got together through dancing.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, so the difference between meeting someone through dance and meeting someone at the nightclub or, out is at dance, first you meet them in a social environment and it's not about drinking or drugs or impressing.
Yeah.
It's about learning how to dance.
Sure.
So you get to meet the person first. Once you've met them, you then create social groups to go out.
Yeah, I get you.
Because dancers, if you're going to dance with people, you can't be off your head.
No, that's right.
So
Yeah.
you start to meet people as they are.
Yeah.
Then whatever happens after that happens after that.
Yeah, it's.
But you meet them for them.
with the specifically with the physical activity side of it involved as well. It's much more wholesome than a pub. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where again you're off your face, or potentially people take advantage of each other through drinks or whatever. I mean, we're taking it to kind of the extreme, but it's much healthier, right?
Nestor, Rafa joined the dance academy once.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Ask him about it.
What's this about?
He got teased by all his friends too.
Yeah. So we did the podcast with my brother Joshua Sasan. Shout out to Josh and Identity Crew in New Zealand. They're also world champion dancers, multiple world champions. And I told the story, which not many people know, that when I was a kid, I spent my first year after high school in Uruguay, and I was just at a gym training, and one of the gym owners said, "Hey, I'll give you free membership if you join my team." It was like a jazz thing. We don't have any guys. And I think me being, like Australian Uruguayan, you're more, a little bit more open, let's say. I was like, man, fuck it, why not? Especially because she said, I'll give you free membership. And I looked over at the class because they were literally over there and there was a whole bunch of girls. And I was like, well, that sounds good to me. And then we, whatever. We went to Uruguayan championships, which, right. And we won that, and then we went to Buenos Aires.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there was a hip-hop thing along the way, but that's it. That's as far as it got, trust me. That was the beginning, the middle, and the end. But it was fun. But it's like multiple lifetimes ago.
let me tell you,
Sure.
even for me through this, because I was a bricklayer by trade,
Yeah.
I got teased by the guys on site.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just the normal thing.
Well, as I told the story, a couple of the boys that began with the teasing, you know, Uruguay, man, come on. A couple of them ended up actually joining after I joined because it's almost like you go first, you know, and then they
Test
kind
the
of
water.
exactly, yeah. Thank you, Paulie. Aha.
Cool. So this was in Bora Bora.
Yep.
So if you see the little huts at the back,
Yes.
that's where we stayed overlooking the water.
Beautiful.
That was the hotel.
Sure.
So there's 2 people missing from this photo,
Sure.
but that's the crew that went with us to
Okay. Beautiful.
to
Yeah.
Bora Bora.
Uh-huh. Well, great times, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. How long? 2 years ago, did you say? Or no, 3 years
Yeah,
ago?
we celebrated 2 years this
2
year.
years ago. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Congrats, brother. Awesome. Shout out to all you beautiful people
And
there.
they all danced with me at the school.
They're all bloody dancers. Except maybe the little baby.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Next photo, please, Paulie. Thank you. And, you know, we had to have one of these, right?
Yeah.
Is this in Australia now or?
So this one was in Australia.
Okay,
so
sure. Because I was about to say this one looks more like the, you know, the Western Australian wedding with
Yeah.
the suit and the, you know, the big dress and everything, no?
Yeah, so this photo was in what's the park called? I forgot the name of the park. So that's where we got married here in Australia.
Sure.
And it was down in Piedmont by the water.
Okay, nice, very nice.
And yeah, I mean, there's a whole sequence of this photo, but
Sure.
there's an extended photo of this one,
Yeah.
which the photographer, because I like Batman,
Oh,
I took this picture and then up in the air, he's got a Batman sign.
are you serious?
Yeah.
On your wedding photo, you put bloody Batman.
Oh, Rafa, where's that photo?
Fuck
Rafa,
me.
wow.
You got your best friends with Paulie now. Show me your bloody Batmobile you got up there on the thing. Man.
DCMs.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
wow.
You guys need to hang out. Oh, it must be the Armenian genes. Something
Rafa,
bloody-
that was bad producing, not having a Batman picture on a wedding photo.
Yeah, I actually didn't see it, but in my defense, you have 55,000 photos on your social media, man. Jesus. I mean, look, that's the whole point, right? But when a man has over 1,000 profile pictures, he's a busy boy, man. Damn. I was like, yeah, because, you know, normally Paulie helps out or even the guest kind of supports, let's say, with, you know, sending some photos because it's quite hard for me to try and get into your life and through pictures tell your story. It's obviously the guest will have a much better idea than anyone else. But I dive into today and I was like, whoa, thousands of photos. But I knew that, you know, not only is your story quite well known, but that, you know, you'd be more than capable of telling the story without the photos. But we still like the photos for obvious reasons, man. Next photo, please, Paulie. The bride looking beautiful there, by the way.
All right. So this was the first bachata team that we won the bachata championships with. This was in Miami.
Sure. Wow.
So every single one except for the one at the end, Christian,
Sure.
was in that wedding photo just before.
Awesome.
But again, this was the first time that we won the bachata championships as a team.
Yeah.
And we haven't looked back since. We haven't lost here in Australia or overseas
With the lucky flag, no?
with the lucky flag in the back.
My man. I saw the flag and I thought, nah, this must be like a winning thing, something, you know? Cause
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
bro.
the team,
Yeah,
the
well
first
done.
one that we won with.
So just on that, to enter the international comp, wherever that may be, because it changes from year to year and so on, do you first have to win your country or is it like...
Top 3.
Okay, cool.
So there's qualifiers in your country, and if you
Sure.
don't have qualifiers in your country
Yep.
or you don't qualify,
Yep.
you can go there and do the last minute qualifier.
Okay, cool.
But
It's
then
like
you
a
have to
wild
go
card
round
kind
by
of thing.
round. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No, because, you know, I guess it was just a normal question that, you know, that you could ask about the format of the competitions that we
Yeah.
don't know about, you know? Okay, cool. So Australia first. Thank you, Paulie.
And yeah, that was my wife. So it's my wife's at that point already dancing in my team.
Oh, okay, cool. You'd already
that's
roped
the-
her in with the dancing, huh? my man. No, beautiful images, man. And obviously, you know, an awesome insight into what it is that you guys do.
I got a video. Is this you guys?
Yeah, that's our promotional video.
We can show a little bit there for everyone at home to see.
It's a hectic video. I love it.
Hectic. Wow. That's awesome.
So that's
man.
our Alexandria studio.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't seen
Yeah.
this one. I've seen the one in Broadway a million times, obviously, driving past there. I always send a silent shout out to the boys on my way past.
Yeah.
Nice
So
studios,
that's-
man.
Yeah, so that's normally how busy we are. At the moment, we're only allowed 20 per room.
Sure.
That was in Canberra.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you know, we do performances, we do classes,
Yeah.
it's our parties.
Yeah, I like it that obviously we got average Joes in the mix as well. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be, you know, Mambo King or anything. You can
No.
just show up and Pato,
Yeah.
El Pato. Shout out to Patrick Leroy Sanchez. He used to be my photographer many moons ago, man.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, at Tequila and all these other nights. Otro chileno. Uh-huh. It's a good video, man. Who
Yeah.
did that for you?
This one, I
Yeah.
did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You edited it yourself?
Half the second half, so everything that's from Canberra
Sure.
and the logos, I did it.
Okay.
But the footage of the studio
Sure.
was somebody else.
Okay,
But
awesome,
I
man. Well
put it
done.
together, yeah.
Talk about in-house, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Is that something you just sort of learned along the way, or yeah?
Yeah,
Good skill
hands-on.
to have, man. Very skill to have. Very
That
good
and
skill
all
to have.
our artwork now, I like to learn stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I like to
yeah.
learn stuff.
That way you control it as well. You understand? Like you can
Yeah.
do it your way, not your way seen through another person's eyes, which is not the same thing.
Yes.
You know, you can control it. Brother, many beautiful memories, amazing achievements,
Thank you.
relationships, moments, memories, a curriculum which is, by far a standout, overachiever. Like I said before, very much respected and well liked as well. A man of character, of morals. Because in this game, in business and everything, there are always opportunities to
Yeah.
cut corners and and do the wrong thing by people in on your way to getting things your way. Let's say, but here we are today. And very recently, a few weeks ago, I'm sure you'll tell us more about it in detail, but we all hear in the community through social media that you've been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Bombshell. Because, when you see success, good times, success, it's almost like... for whatever reason, we expect that to just sort of be forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. And obviously fit and healthy and part of a very fit and healthy lifestyle and doing your challenges and, and all these
Yeah.
things. Very young, and then we hear about this, this very bad news that you've been hit with. I wanted to get some insights into that. What was it like for you? When was it? What did it feel like to have this bomb dropped on you? To be diagnosed with cancer, and then also to tackle it in a very public way, which I also admire and respect you even more for that. Because that can't be easy. That brings that's a whole nother set of circumstances. Yeah. But tell us, what was it like, man? Because that can't be easy. Well, let's start with why did you get tested? I guess. Yeah.
So this starts back a few years ago.
Sure.
I've got a history of bowel cancer in my family.
Uh-huh.
But I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
And with that, I guess hopefully nobody minds me being so open about
No,
this.
please.
I went to the toilet and I saw blood in my stool.
Sure.
At that point in time, I didn't want anybody to know. I was traveling. I was young. It's a little bit embarrassing to talk to anyone about it. Happened again. Didn't think much of it. But then I was living with my wife. My wife used to work in a science lab, a pathology lab. So she knew more about it. So then I decided to tell her. So I said, so look, I wasn't going to tell you. It's been going for a little bit, but when I go to the toilet, I see blood in my stool. I don't know if that's normal, whatnot. She said, do you have bowel cancer in your family? I said, yeah. She goes, you need to get tested. And I said, I'm sure it's not that. It's probably just something I ate. Mm-hmm. She goes, go to the doctor and ask. So I went to the doctor and I said to him, look, this is happening. I've got bowel cancer in my family, colon cancer, same. Can you test me for it? He said, you're too young. I'll test you to see, because you've been traveling, let's see if you have a bacteria.
Sure.
And then he diagnosed me with a bacteria called blastocitis. And he said, that's it, don't worry about it, that's all it is. A year later, it started happening again. My wife said, Nestor, I want you to go to the doctor and tell him he has to test you. I said, all right. I went back and I said to him, look, it's back now. Can you test me, even with a home kit, can you give me one of those? And he said to me, look, you're too young. I told you it's that. I can give you some antibiotics. And he goes, but it's a 50-50 chance that bacteria doesn't really go, and it's common. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Don't worry about the antibiotics. I went home. My wife said, did you get tested? Did he give you the test? I said, listen, doctor's already said no. Don't worry about it. And then she's like, Nestor, I told you, you need to ask for the test. And I remember this like it was yesterday. And I said, so what? Do you want me to have cancer or something? I said, leave it. Doctor said, no. Year later, which was 2 months ago, I had a tooth removed. And I started having the same stomach cramps. That goes along with the blood in the stool. So I went to the doctor. And she said to me again, Nestor, this is not common. Get tested. And I said, I think it's just because of the tooth. So the doctor said to me, look, I think it's diverticulitis. You had your tooth removed, bacteria goes into the bowel, infection. Go get an x-ray at the imaging center, and then I can treat you for that.
Same doctor.
Same doctor. So I was like, all right. I booked in to go the next day to Leica, to the imaging center, but I got a fever overnight. And so because of COVID, if you have a fever, you can't go there. So then I called my doctor in the morning and said I couldn't get my images done. He goes, go get them to the hospital. Go to the hospital. They'll do it there. Okay. Went to the hospital. They checked me in for diverticulitis to get my CT scan. They did my scan. And they came back. They gave me some antibiotics. They said, we just want you to stay. We've got a few more tests we want to do. At that point, I didn't think anything of it.
So maybe they saw something.
Yeah. And then overnight, they said, we want you to get an MRI. And then my wife said to me, this is not normal.
Yeah.
My dad's got diverticulitis, for them to want to continue doing these scans. And so then that question started to come up. And then it was about the third or fourth day that they came and they finally said, we think you've got bowel cancer.
Ouch.
We've got some more tests to do, PET scan, this and that. And then it was the fifth day. At that point, I already spoken to my wife. And she goes, Nestor, I told you this before. She goes, I think it's that. But wait and see. And so that night, because I stayed in hospital for 4 nights on antibiotics and they didn't want me to leave. And that night, I gathered my thoughts together and I said, okay, tomorrow I get my diagnosis. I could probably go in there and they say it's diverticulitis. Or they could say it's bowel cancer. And if they say it's bowel cancer, they're either going to say one or two things. It's treatable or it's not treatable. So I thought to myself, what am I going to do? If I get upset, if I get angry, I'm going to get my family upset, I'm going to get my wife upset. I can't do that. So whatever happens tomorrow, nothing changes.
Yeah.
So my wife came and my parents as well. We went into the room. No, not my parents. My parents were waiting outside. We went into the room to hear what the doctor had to say, and sure enough, told me I had bowel cancer. Then my wife asked the staging, and that's when he said stage 4, which is obviously the latest stage.
Final.
It had traveled from my colon to my liver, but on top of that, there was the tumor created a hole in my colon. So the cancer had spread along the inside of my organs. Not inside the organs, outside of the organs, but just underneath my skin, which is the peritoneal.
Yeah, that's right.
So then I had cancer I had cancer colon, liver, and peritoneal. So at that point, I was like, okay, what do we do now? And they sent me home to have another meeting so they could tell me what was going to be the plan of action.
The plan, yeah.
At that point, I told my parents. Obviously, everybody was upset. I was like, guys, until we know what the plan of action is, I said, they've told me they can do something. It's better than nothing. So like I said to my wife before going in, if they give me 0%, I'm going to live like if nothing happened. But if they give me 1%, that's more than enough for me to fight to get past this. And so they gave me a 20 to 30% 5-year survival, which is plenty enough for me to fight and get through this.
Yeah.
And, if I'm supposed to be on the other side, I will be. If I'm not, doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to be there. That's the way I see it. And so that night I went home, and it was the first time in 6 days that everything just kind of hit me, and walked through the door and just dropped my stuff, fell on my knees, and it was the first time I kind of broke down. Lasted for about 5 minutes. I got up and I said to my wife, that's it. That's the last time I do that. I got that out of my system. I apologized to her because I didn't listen to her. And that's it. And that's how I heard and found out what my diagnosis was. Then a week later I went and they told me what the plan of action was, and I've been going through it since.
And here we are.
Yeah.
The feeling when you're diagnosed, when you're in the room with a doctor, right? The doctor's sat you down.
Yep.
What was that feeling like, that moment?
I was disappointed.
Sure.
I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. I was disappointed. I was more disappointed with myself for not listening to my wife.
Sure.
If I would have listened to her the 2-3 years back, I probably would not have had any operations, or I would be stage 1 or maybe pre-cancerous.
Sure.
But as a man, we have our ego and our health. We don't think about it. And, my doctor said it, done.
I think there's something to be said about the doctor too, though, no?
Yes. So he misdiagnosed me 3 times. And that, look, no human is infallible.
Sure.
I'm not angry with him. I'm disappointed that he didn't listen to me, but I didn't listen to my wife. So for me to be angry for him not to listen to me would be hypocritical because I didn't listen to my wife.
Yeah. The only difference is he's a professional and,
Yes.
And then the question is, how often is this happening to other people? That's a worthwhile question to be asked as well. Yeah. Perhaps that same doctor could be committing that mistake.
Yeah, look, you hear of medical negligence or accidents or stuff a lot. Ultimately, and again, we need doctors.
Of course.
But they are human.
Indeed.
So if there's a genuine error or mistake and it's not done on purpose.
Sure.
I mean.
Yeah. No, but
that's my point of view.
The first thing I thought when you were saying that was, wow, these decisions were obviously, they seem at least to have been taken very lightly by this health professional.
And
in hindsight.
Yeah, I think when it comes to cancer, specifically colon cancer, a person my age to have it is becoming more common, but it wasn't.
Sure.
So it's not the first thing that's going to cross his mind.
Indeed.
Even in Australia, you only start getting, I guess, your scans for bowel or colon cancer start at the age of 50.
That's right.
Where the government sends you a home kit.
Yeah.
I think they should be starting much earlier.
Sure.
Especially if you have a family history of
Indeed,
it. And they know that it's there.
Yeah.
But if the general consensus is 50 and up, and I'm 40 now, when I went in there, the first time I was 36, 37. I understand why he said you're too young.
Yeah. When you look at it from that point of view, of course.
Yeah.
And I think what probably makes it even harder, I would say, is you don't have a history of hospitalizations and disease and all these things.
Never.
Right? Which kind of almost makes it harder, right? Because it's like you're going
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, yeah. Completely unprepared and.
And that's how, because it literally turned my life upside down.
Indeed, yeah. Sure.
Overnight, pretty much.
Yeah. And at what point did you decide to go public? Because that's a huge step.
Yep.
Yeah.
So because I was away from the school for a week, everybody knew something was up.
Sure.
Nestor's never away.
Yeah.
I never miss my classes, and everybody knows that. And the fact that they were hearing I was in hospital for this long, they knew something was up. So I started getting messages left, right, and center, and I thought, well, if I don't say anything, human nature is two things. Worst case scenario, I start spreading information that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. Rumors. Yeah.
So I decided to announce it for my immediate family from Uruguay, from here,
Sure.
from my closer friends, instead of contacting everyone, because I got a big network of, I guess, immediate circle is still a big network.
Sure.
I'd do it via Facebook.
Sure.
I didn't know the reaction I was going to get.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I guess it got out not just amongst my friends, but you know, every other contact I've had in traveling around the world, and
Yeah.
people messaging me from everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was going to get that big. It's flattering,
Of course.
but at the same time, like, I think what happens with this kind of stuff is not until it's close to home that you think about it. And then naturally your first reaction is, what if that was me?
Yeah.
And that's when it hits home. And that's when I think people started contacting me, because they realized he's a dancer, he's our age, he's from our circle. If this happened to him, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah. And through your story, through your suffering and your journey and your recovery and your attempts to, you know, to beat this, we're all going to learn. And that's one of the reasons also why I wanted to do this show, as I think we've alluded to before, because I think this is a very powerful story. It's also very powerful that you're doing it the way that you're doing it publicly. It's also very powerful that you're doing it with such grace and strength and with a smile. I'm sure you have your moments. We all do, even at the best of times. We have, you know, these bad days.
You know what, though? From that first day,
Yeah.
the way I see it is it could have been much worse. Doctors could have said, we can't help you.
Yeah.
So from that day, I've kind of realized that every day I've got is a blessing.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't been upset. I've been appreciative
Sure.
of every day that I get. And even though things are, you know, I guess there was this one period that for me, my main concern was not whether I'm here today or tomorrow, is I don't want to leave my wife by herself. And I don't want to leave
That's
my family.
true love. Yeah.
So it was, I think a week later, I was teaching online, and Katrina and Jamie and a few other staff, they stopped my filming, and they've come into the room with a whole bunch of other people
Yeah.
and a laptop, and I didn't realize, but they were streaming on our main page,
Yeah.
and they did this presentation.
Yeah.
Now, this presentation for me, I thought, you know, I didn't know what it was, and it was one of our students decided to start a GoFundMe page
Sure.
to raise funds, because all this cancer treatment, as you would know,
Of course.
it all starts right up, very expensive.
Of course.
And so what started off as a student trying to help me turned out to 700 people live on Facebook, about 200 people on Zoom, and a fundraiser that in 48 hours, people from all over the world contributed, and they gave us $86,000.
Wow.
We were, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it,
So you should.
gobsmacked. Couldn't believe it. So at that point, I thought to myself, you know, regardless of what happens to her here on in, my wife's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have family and friends and people to take care of her, and
Yeah.
my family's going to be fine as well. And since that moment, I've been all right with everything.
Man, it's a testament to your influence over all those people's lives. You know, these are all these seeds that you've sown over years and years and years, you know, the whole go around, come around thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that at all, to be honest. And you not wanting to leave your wife behind, I mean, you know, that's extremely selfless, you know. again, I'm not surprised to hear that. But tell me something. I think I might have told you, I lost my mama to bowel cancer as well, and I was there from through an incredibly tough ride, watching her body decay and sort of slowly wither away, and having to let go of her. And I've had a few hits in my life, and many would probably say, 7 years jail, horrible, so tough. And that was a walk in the park compared to what I went through with mama. How does it feel to get up in the morning, to be dancing, to be doing whatever it is that we all do in our daily lives, knowing that inside your body you've got this battle between, at a cellular level almost? And this is a question from me because, I don't know, my mind just went there. How does it feel to know? Because, look, we all know that we have an immune system. We all know that there's bacteria, that there's viruses, that there's cancer cells and stuff that you ate last night that's not going too well, and, and whatever, and I'm feeling fitter and I've got a bit of fat and I don't, and whatever. But to know, diagnosed, that you've got this battle inside, your guts. Yeah. How does it feel? Is that playing into your daily psyche? Is that something that you're living with from time to time? Do you come back to that, or are you just sort of no? And look, fuck it, just do it.
It's around me all the time.
Sure.
And I never escape it.
Yeah.
Not just because I've got it, but because the way I'm dealing with things and being open with it, the amount of people that ask me the same question or similar questions, on a daily basis, I won't go to bed without answering all my messages.
Wow.
And my messages are either about how I am or about how did I find out or about how I'm dealing with it, because people want to know, either because they're worried about themselves, they know someone who's going through it, they had someone who's gone through it. So it is in front of me the whole time. Sure. But the fact that it's been in front of me the whole time, I've dealt with it.
Sure.
And I'm okay with it.
Sure.
So as much as I don't like being in this position, as I said before, I've come to terms.
You've accepted it.
That if I'm not supposed to be here tomorrow, I might cross the road and get hit by a car.
Sure.
If I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But I've kind of taken this on, well, this is a bit of a gift, because I don't like the fact that this was sprung on me. So knowing everything I know now, I use this to try and get the message out, because I don't want anybody to end up in my position and say, I wish I would have known what I know now. So therefore, it affects me, but I think it would affect me more if I'm not doing anything about it.
Sure.
Because then I would be a hypocrite if I now know this information but let somebody else go through it. So I've taken this more as a challenge.
Sure.
That I have to get through, but the purpose is to get as much of this information out. Sure. Until the government decides to do it, because the government at the moment, when it comes to bowel cancer, it's not as readily the information or the sent out or it's not talked about like breast cancer, even though the same amount of people that die of colon cancer as breast cancer. Yeah. Or prostate cancer for that.
Yeah, I would dare say that regardless of what the government does, and they can always do more. Yeah. Goes back to that whole thing about we're sort of in denial, We don't want to discuss death or diseases, or we kind of always want to put it away, like push it to the side, to the back, leave it in the dark areas, in the shadows, let's say. But you have been that leader, that teacher, that role model, that ambassador for such a long time, almost like it's in your DNA, that doesn't surprise me that when you get given, so you got given this gift of dance that you developed and everything, and now you got given this
Yeah.
this cancer, this disease, this hurdle, and you've just done what comes to you naturally, I think, which is,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I'm a teacher, I'm a leader, I'm an ambassador. I'm going to treat it the same way that I've treated it,
Well, that's it.
Yeah, so...
And that was one of the things I said,
Yeah.
it will, and it has already changed my body, but it's not going to change who I am.
Indeed.
And that's why I've approached it this
Full
way.
power to you, man.
Yeah.
And tell me something, speaking of treatments, speaking of operations, because it's been a couple of months now, right? So...
Yeah, it's been 5 weeks since my operation, about 2
Sure.
months since the diagnosis.
Sure. Have you changed any dietary things? What's your nutrition now like? Are you like, because a lot of people talk about meat and no meat and
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about
So
that.
when you get cancer,
Sure.
you get so many people giving you
Advice.
cancer cure advice,
Yeah, of course.
from meat diets to vegetarian diets, to alkaline,
Yeah.
to, no sugar.
Sure. Yeah.
Like so many different ways of
fasting.
fasting.
Yeah.
So everybody has their cure for cancer.
Sure. Yeah.
But no one actually has a cure for cancer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So one thing that I've learned is that I'm going to try to do what feels right for me physically, but also inside. Because at the moment, not the doctors and not anyone else can guarantee me a cure.
No.
So I'm going to try, like when I'm prepared for dance competitions, I look for everything to tick the boxes.
Sure.
And then I try to find the best way to do it.
Sure.
So I take this on the same way.
Yeah.
I look at everything. I know there are certain things I need to do to tick the boxes
Sure.
to be better on the other end.
Sure.
Exercise,
Of course.
more balanced diet,
Sure.
good headspace,
Yeah, indeed.
rest.
Rest.
So these are the things that I'm taking on board.
Sure.
And then anything extra that I can add onto it,
Sure.
I will. But this is the main basis to try and get to the other.
Sure. So any sort of specifics about that? Like, are you like,
Yeah.
I would say to someone that's wanting to strengthen their immune system, I'm a big proponent of juicing.
Yep.
Juices, vegetable juices, fruit juices, dark green leafy vegetables, slow press juice over centripetal juice. Give us some specifics about what it is that you've done since you heard about the
So
cancer.
there's a couple of things that I've done mainly is I haven't changed the way that I eat. In fact, I'm eating more because I lost 7 kilos in hospital and I had to put it back on.
Sure.
And I'm going to put a little bit extra so when chemo starts, if I drop some, I'm still going to be at a reasonable weight.
Sure.
That's the plan.
Sure. Because you're doing chemo. So just to be clear,
Yes.
chemo starts soon. And one of the reasons why we rushed this out is because we wanted to get you before chemo, because chemo can
Yep.
knock you around a little bit.
Yep.
So that's why.
So that starts on Tuesday.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So my diet is the same, but I'm buying all organic.
Good call. Good
Now, on a personal level,
Sure.
do I actually know that just because it says organic, it is?
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm trusting that it is.
Sure.
Makes sense? And so I'm eating cleaner in that sense.
Yep.
I'm eating a more balanced diet. See, as a dancer, and always I was out from 9 a.m.
Snacking.
to midnight. So to be only on the weekends would I eat a proper meal. So everything else would be Uber Eats.
On the run, yeah.
On the run. So now I have 3 good cooked meals a day.
Sure.
Plus I have protein shakes in between
Sure.
to keep my muscle mass up
Sure.
and keep my weight up. Organic, I've gone down that avenue.
Yep.
I'm still eating meat because it's part of the protein that I need to not lose my muscle throughout
Sure.
this whole process,
Sure.
as well as taking protein shakes.
Yep. Any other supplements?
Yes.
Sure.
So I'm taking vitamin C.
Sure.
I'm taking iron.
High doses.
I'm taking 1 tablet a day.
Okay, sure.
So I actually asked the doctors about what I can take and what not. Vitamin C was something that did come up.
Always.
And they said, be careful not to overdo it. Whether that's
Yep.
correct or not, there is
Like anything else,
there is
debatable,
that
yeah.
vitamin C conversation about it being good for you.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's body is different. So some people will react great to being a vegetarian. Some people will react great to organic food. Some people believe the meat diet.
Sure.
Depends on who you are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But for me, yeah, so vitamin C, iron, I'm taking an immune booster, taking vitamin D, because I haven't been out in the sun that much as well.
Sure.
And then another one for hair, nails, and skin.
Like silica or something.
Yeah, so I decided to start taking those in the lead up to what I'm going to go through
Sure.
to boost those up.
Sure.
As far as my immune system, there's nothing better than exercise.
How's the energy levels?
So there's a difference between my energy levels that I can versus what I'm allowed to do, physically wise. I have a nap in the middle of the day now. I never used to, but that was because I was always on the run. If I physically could go and dance 8 to 10 hours a day like I used to, I think I still have the energy for it.
But you're conscious now to have some on reserve to allow the body to
Yeah,
fight.
but also because of the operation that I had,
Sure.
I can't move like I used to.
Tell us about the operation.
This is pretty much what they said they were going to do for me is
Sure. The plan.
an operation called HIPEC, which hasn't been around for maybe only 10 years.
Okay.
They do 50 a year here.
Okay.
And so pretty much because my cancer had got out in between the organs, not
Sure.
just in the organs,
Yep.
your regular chemotherapy is not going to get that.
Oh, really? Okay.
So what they had to do was they opened me up from here to here.
Sure. Ouch.
They open,
Yep.
they fill it up with chemotherapy at 45 degrees.
Oh, wow.
They leave it for about an hour. Then they wash it out. And so that kills all the cancer cells that are hanging around on the outside. At the same time, they removed a third of my colon.
So they did that. Okay.
Yes.
Ouch.
They removed a third of my colon. They removed 45 lymph nodes. They removed a piece of my bladder because the tumor was on top of the bladder.
Yeah.
They also removed my seminal tubes because that was up against the bladder. And they removed like 5 centimeters of my liver.
Wow. So that's all been done already.
So that's been done. On top of that, so underneath your skin, between your skin and the peritoneal, there's a fat layer called the omentum.
Yep.
They removed that because that gathers the cancer cells. And they removed the peritoneal layer. It's like a clean wrap between your organs and your skin.
Sure.
They removed that as well. So it's a pretty big surgery. It was supposed to go
Indeed.
for 12 hours. But my body reacted really well.
Nestor, sorry, can I get your photo?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, sorry.
There you go.
yeah.
Been told.
So
yeah.
my body reacted really well.
Yeah.
And so I was only there for 10 hours. For whatever reason, the surgeons were saying that the anesthetic gave me no complications. I didn't need a blood transfusion, which for something like that you normally do.
Sure.
So I was very lucky, and I think it's because I've been a dancer for so long. My body was in a fit state
Indeed.
that it took care of itself
Yep.
for me to get out.
I've heard that from time to time. Yeah, yeah. When your body's strong and healthy and the muscles are working and everything, it helps for the recovery and everything. Yeah.
On top of that, they gave me what they call an ileostomy bag.
Yep.
So I'll show you.
Please do, my friend. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your bravery,
That's
man.
right.
Because
So first of all, I'm not going to go too low. Don't worry.
No, it's okay, man.
The operation went from here
Uh-huh.
all the way up to there.
That's a cool scar, man.
So no more belly button. So I look like a teddy bear. And that's the bag. So
Sure.
Pretty much they brought out the small intestine, not the large one.
Sure.
They brought it out. Everything goes into there now.
Wow. Okay, cool.
It's temporary.
Of course. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. So
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's...
indeed, yeah. So this is what I know from Mama. If they can reconnect,
Yep.
then they get rid of the bag because then that
Yes.
obviously allows the flow to continue,
Yeah.
right?
So normally if it's on your left side, it's a colostomy bag because it's with the colon.
Correct. Yep.
The ileostomy bag,
Yep.
what they do is they disconnect your small intestines and
Yep.
your large intestines.
Sure.
They close the large intestines and
Yep.
they put the small intestines out,
Sure.
but they can reconnect that easy.
Sure.
So what they did on the lower colon is depending on where your tumor or your cancer is,
Sure.
if it's too close to the rectum,
Yeah.
they can't reconnect it.
Sure.
So you end up with a colostomy bag.
Yeah, I get you.
But because mine was higher up, they were able to connect. So
Yeah.
they didn't have to cut it.
Remove and connect.
They removed and connect.
Sure.
But that needs time to heal.
Of course.
Hence why I've got this.
Of course, yeah. So no passage of food
Correct.
or feces, and it allows that area to heal properly and then,
Yeah.
and then regenerate. And okay,
Yeah.
full power to you, man.
So
Tough times.
This will be removed after the chemotherapy
Sure.
because they can't afford to try and do it now.
We'll come in a little bit more again, please, brother. No, don't be sorry, man. Please.
They can't afford to do it now because it takes too long to heal, and they need to give you your chemo in a 6 to 8 week period after your operation. Otherwise, they miss that window to be able to get anything that's floating inside.
Indeed. Yep, that's right.
So they've decided to wait till afterwards.
Yeah, they say that there's the further away you get from that period, then the less likelihood of recovery and all these
Correct.
things. Yeah, yeah. And they've got all the statistics there. And
Yep.
if you do this, then your percentage is that. If you do that, your percentage is this. But that's not the only treatment you've had, right? Because you had the this one here.
So this is what I had done on Thursday. But before this, so my treatment is not curative. It's palliative,
Okay, sure.
which means that it's not a matter of once you've got your chemo and done, that's it, you're cured.
No.
No, it's on this stays with me forever
No.
now. But the thing is, they remove as much as they can. So then when it comes back, they can attack it straight away.
Sure.
So this will be a constant battle,
Sure.
not one that will be finished tomorrow.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Sure. Yeah.
So they've normally, it takes 3 to 6 months for someone to heal from this operation. It's taken me 5 weeks,
Wow.
which the doctors have been
Amazed.
amazed at my
Yeah.
recovery.
Sure.
I'm back to the dance studio.
Yeah.
I'm exercising again. So therefore, my iron levels, my weight is back.
Yeah.
They've been super amazed by all.
When I saw you, I was amazed at how good you look, man.
Yeah.
I was expecting someone because it's very natural. You can have
course.
one bad night and you look emaciated, you know, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
But that's the thing, right? Most people at the moment, if they see me, they would not even be able to figure out that I've got cancer at the
No,
moment.
not at all.
Let alone stage 4.
No, not at all.
And I don't feel it. I feel the operation.
Of course you do. Of course
This
you
is
do.
pretty much fine now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the bag is obvious that it's there. But until Thursday, I couldn't feel anything. Now, on Thursday, they put what they call a portacath here. So, which goes there to there.
Wow.
So basically what it is, they've opened up the skin and they put like this little, it's about the size of a 50-cent coin.
Oof.
They put it inside.
Yeah.
And that's got 2 catheters,
Yep.
2 plastic
Tubes.
tubes.
Yeah, little tubes. Yeah.
And they put them inside your vein.
Ah. Okay.
So what happens now is I start chemotherapy on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I get that twice a month for 6 months.
Sure.
Now, instead of them having to look for veins constantly, they plug straight into that. So anything that is blood test, anything
Sure.
that is IV. straight
Oh,
to the
really?
vein.
So even blood tests and everything.
Everything
You
goes
got
through
your own
there.
little USB port there.
Yeah, pretty much. I tried to put my phone there. It doesn't charge.
Doesn't charge? Not yet. Apple, get onto it. You got to have a laugh, man. You
yeah.
have to laugh.
So that's
Yeah.
that's what they did on Thursday in preparation for Tuesday.
And how's the pain level on that general region?
Fine.
Yeah.
I was off my painkillers maybe a week after I got home,
Wow.
which was another thing the doctors were very surprised about. I don't think that I'm tough. I'm just lucky
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that the pain hasn't
Well,
hit me as much as it would hit somebody else.
well, look, I think you're tough. I think you're very tough. Whether you choose to either consciously admit it or openly admit it, I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that you're tough, because you're sending out the signal to your cells, to your whole living organism, that you're tough. That that can't be wrong. So I would say you're tough, man.
I tell you what
yeah.
was tough.
Yeah.
It was so normally with this procedure,
Yeah.
you go in 5 days in ICU, 3 weeks to recover.
Sure.
The first night after ICU,
Yeah.
because I had epidural, and the epidural had me numb from ear to ear. But what happened was it moves in blocks.
Sure.
The epidural had moved too far this way.
Yeah.
So my arm, it had moved too far this way.
Okay.
So my arm was numb.
Sure.
I couldn't move my fingers and my side of my face was dropping.
Oh, wow.
So they had to put me to the side to try and get it back into the middle,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't feel any pain on this side.
Yeah.
They put me too much this way, and all of a sudden it all shifted to the other side. They said this isn't working.
Man.
So then they had to remove the epidural
Ooh.
before putting me back on painkillers. This is the second day after the main operation. So when they removed it, I could feel my body was sweating. It was really painful. It was like
Throbbing.
fire. And I thought to myself, all right, how am I going to get past this? I got to separate myself from my body. And so I meditated. I was just breathing, and my wife was next to me. The next day, my parents came to visit, and I was telling them about how half an hour I had no painkillers because they needed to wait for one to go.
Clear
before
out.
the other.
Yeah.
For half an hour, I had no painkillers. And my wife turns around to me and goes, what do you mean half an hour? You were there for 2 hours. I had got myself, I don't know how I did it.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Normally it would be like, I had no painkillers for 6 hours, and your wife would have gone, it was 15 minutes.
So somehow I managed to get past that.
The power of the mind, my friend.
Yeah.
The power of the mind.
But that made everything else a lot easier.
Well, I mean, looking at you now, when you said to them, oh, yeah, they opened me up, I had an operation. I mean, I thought, okay, cool. Maybe they remove like a little bit of the bowel or whatever. But then you told me the bladder and this and that. Like, wow, man, like that's a serious bit of, removal happening there. So again, full power to you, bro. You're walking around like there's nothing wrong with you.
And free liposuction, which is great.
Yeah, well, hey, there you go, man. A win's a win. Might as well get it in there, right? Get an upgrade. Oh man.
So it's been a lot. And as I said, on Tuesday I start my chemo.
What's your feeling about that? Because it can be quite life-sapping, right? Tiring.
So my feeling when it comes to that is, I was told my operation, out of 50 people, one person doesn't make it.
There you go.
There could be all these different complications.
Worst case scenarios.
There were people in my ward with smaller operations who were there for longer. I got out in 9 days.
Yeah.
Which was ridiculously fast in their books.
Supposed to be 3 weeks, did you say? Or
It's supposed to be 5 days in ICU.
Yeah.
I was out after the first day.
Sure.
And then 3 weeks in recovery.
Yeah.
Including the ICU, I was out in 9 days.
Did you tell them you're Uruguayan, but maybe that's it. You would say, hold on, man, so Uruguayo.
Yeah.
Remember Luis Suarez getting recovering to come back to the World Cup from his knee? Yeah, that's
Aren't you
me.
forgetting the Armenian gene, guys?
It might be the
Might be
Armo
that
thing. Yeah. I'm sure it's in there somewhere too. Does that make you feel better? Good on you, champ.
Dale.
Yeah.
So I forgot what I was at.
No, you were just talking about chemo and what the expectation is.
Yeah, so because I was given so much that could go wrong, or how much pain to expect, or how long to be in hospital, none of that has actually happened. So going into chemo, they've given me all the information. I've read everything that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So what I've decided is, well,
that's not going to be me.
Stats. I get it. People have gone through it.
That's not going to be me.
But people who have gone through my operation had a very different result. So I'm going to take it as in this is my body. I'm going to decide how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to stay healthy. I've already decided that before going to chemo and the same day after chemo, my routine is going to be eat, exercise, chemo, exercise, rest. Because if I can get my body working throughout the whole time, increasing my red blood cells and white blood cells, it'll hopefully attack reverse or stop the chemotherapy from affecting me in a negative way.
Overtaking, well, I mean, in the stats, you've got the high end, you know, and the low end. And you know, you could say in the middle is the kind of the general statistic that they give you. You know, that's probably where they get the 2 or the 3 weeks. And there's people that were fucked, you know, for whatever reason, and they were in there for 5. But there were also blokes that were in there like you for 1 day in ICU and 9 days versus. You get what I'm saying. But I think also equally,
I was the fastest out there. They did tell me.
Well, there you go, man.
I'm competitive.
Good. But you need to be. You know, this is where you need to be. But also, what I was going to say, equally, you have those stats overlaid with society, where you have people who are have lived sedentary lifestyles, you know,
Yeah.
haven't eaten properly. They've got pre-existing health conditions. Age is another big one because,
Yep.
as
I'm
you
young
right,
for
yeah,
this,
you're very young. So, and then on the other side, you've got people that would probably be, you know, you would qualify for, which
Yep.
is, you know, fit specimens, really good health, you know, body, mind. That's the big one
Yeah.
too, because I can see. You're saying it, but also we can see it. I can see it. Everyone can see it. That your mind is incredibly strong and tough, and is where it needs to be to overcome these things. If you go into it with that victim mentality, you know,
I tell you one thing I've learned though, is for every amazing story, there's a tragic story.
indeed,
And just because someone didn't make it, it doesn't mean they weren't tough or they
No.
didn't battle as much as possible.
no.
And there are some
No.
people who give up but somehow still make it.
Sure,
You know, so the story is never fair.
yeah,
The
no.
story is individual to each person.
Yes, my friend, indeed. Yeah, when it's your time to go, it's your time to
Yeah.
go. But equally, when it's not your time to go, it's not your
Yeah.
time to go. So
that's why
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
do everything possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
But it might be that it turns out that it's not my time to stay.
sure.
But it doesn't mean that I'm going to lay down and accept it.
No.
You know?
No, never.
So I'm going to
No, never.
approach the chemo the same way that I approached the operation.
Sure.
I know what's supposed to happen,
Yeah.
data-wise.
Yeah.
But this is my body, this is me, so I'm going to do
Sure.
it my way.
Yeah, exactly, bro. You're the one that, if there's one person that has control, off the back of when you go, and when you don't,
Yeah.
you don't. If there's one person that has control, that's you.
Yeah.
You know, doctors, they all they all play their roles, but
Yeah.
you're the one that's, you know, the ball's on your feet. You
Well,
know,
see, when
like,
the way I saw it was the operation was more dangerous than the chemo. Why? Chemo, if something's going wrong, I can try and do something to combat
yeah, that's
it.
right. Yeah, you can balance it out. You've got time. Yeah,
when I'm
yeah.
under for 12 hours, I've got no control.
No, you're
so
in
if
their
anything
hands
happens,
completely. Yeah,
can't do anything.
yeah, that's right.
I
That's
got
right.
past that.
Yeah.
So now it's in my hands.
Did you say goodbye to everyone when you went in for your operation? No.
That wasn't an option.
Okay, sure.
I didn't believe that was it.
Yeah.
Like I sincerely believed that was going to be okay.
Did others want to sort of love you, whatever?
No,
No.
but I didn't give him a chance to.
Okay, sure.
Because I said to everyone, if I'm confident with this, I cannot have you being not confident or breaking down in front of me or
No.
making me feel like it's the end, because
Yeah.
that's not where my head's at.
No.
So I didn't want
you can't
them to
have
be
that.
at the
Yeah,
same
you
place.
can't have that. You can't have that.
So I was very fortunate that my family and my close friends that did see
Yeah.
me before the operation, they all took the same approach.
Great, man. They're all along for the ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good, man. But again, testament to your power and this leadership role that you've taken for a very long time, which obviously is contagious, man. It affects all those people around you. So if they see you strong and well, then, you know, they're going to be more
Yeah.
confident and they're going to follow suit, man. You know, hopefully anyway.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
no doubt,
Yeah.
especially with family and close
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
Because I've had friends with cancer before,
Okay. Yeah.
and you see them and you're strong, and then you go away and you think, oh,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
makes sense. I have no doubt they went through that, but at least while they were with me,
Ah,
they allowed me to approach it the way I want
Yeah.
to approach it, which is
yeah, I think that would be human to feel that way too. You know,
Yeah.
to have their doubts, as I'm sure you do in moments as well.
Yeah.
You know, because again, when it's your turn to go, it's your turn to
Yeah.
go. So that could be the case, and equally the other way, as
yeah.
well. You hear of people in the most dire of situations, you know, literally,
And they make
you know,
it.
and they make it completely against, you know, any sort of.
yeah.
Statistical kind of approach or anything you want to take to it, and they survive. So the whole thing about chemo, have they told you what to expect as far as what the first few days are going to be like? Are you going to be able to eat certain things, not eat certain
Yeah.
things? You know, what's that kind of angle? Because that's very daunting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my diet's going to remain the same.
Sure.
And they haven't, because my body has reacted so good to everything so far.
Yeah.
They don't want me to make any drastic changes
Yeah.
because they don't know what's going to happen to my body if I do that.
Mm.
So basically, they have said that I might suffer from nausea.
Sure. Yeah. That's the telltale stuff.
From loss of appetite,
Sure. Yeah.
loss of hair.
Yep.
you know.
That's the kind of
the generic
applies
stuff.
for everything to everybody. Yeah.
And then they have a list of, you know, heart issues, lung issues, kidney issues, all of that kind of stuff. But you get that list when you're going for a regular operation anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you get that when you go get a flu shot too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always a list of things. Yeah.
And I guess that's more protection for them.
Of course.
Right.
It has happened, so we've got to let you know.
Yeah. So I did ask what to expect after the first day. They said, we're going to be pumping you with a steroid. That should keep you happy for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, wow. I might come back.
Okay.
I might come back after 2-3 days for some more. Hook it up.
Because basically what's going to happen is I get chemo for 4 hours.
Sure.
Through here. But then they connect a bag that I take with me, and for the next 48 hours, it's a slow release. So it'll be for 3 days. Then I go back, I get disconnected, 10 days off, I come back and I do all over again.
Wow. Yeah. For 6 months?
For 6 months.
Uh-huh.
I did ask them, since my body's been reacting well, do I have to do it for 6 months?
Yeah.
And they said, yes, you do.
Well, I mean, with all those things, you just don't know, brother. Life is fantastical. Life is magical, you know. Anything can happen. And that's, I think, if we all lived our lives in that way, knowing that things can change now, in a minute, in 5, in 10, and tomorrow, then I think our lives would be much more worth living. And also, you know, if you open yourself up to the possibilities that anything is possible, then man, you know, you go into it. I mean, I don't know if you've thought of it on those terms, but I get the feeling that that's how you're handling this. Like, okay, cool, statistics. Well, fuck it. I mean, I'm gonna do it my way, and if it works, it works. If not,
The thing is, if I give up and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna use this period to live miserably, what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Not going to do anything for me. Not going to change anything.
Nestor, kids.
Yep.
You guys don't have kids?
Don't have kids, no.
Okay, sure. Will you be able to have kids after this? Because you were just saying about the removal of the... Okay, sure.
No. I mean, I didn't know they were going to remove them until after it was.
Of course, because that happens on the fly.
On the
Let's
table,
say, when they open up, they go, oops, we've got to take that out as well. Sure.
So, disappointing.
I'm sure.
In the sense where my choice has been taken away.
Yep, indeed.
We did often talk about not having kids.
Okay.
But you never know what the future lies.
Yeah.
And the thing was, once I got diagnosed, then the conversation came about of maybe.
Yeah.
But then after the operation, there's not even
a choice. Yeah.
So, is that a bad thing? I disappointed I don't have a decision. Like I can't make that choice. But if I have a choice between extended life and no kids, I'm going to be around longer with my wife.
Yeah, indeed.
And there's always other options.
Of course, adoption.
You know, we've discussed adoption. You know, if you can't have your own, well, there's plenty of kids that need someone.
Yeah, sure.
And if we go, if we decide to have one and go down that path, not only would it be good because we can have someone, but also we're doing that extra bit of help.
Yeah. I would say, you know, you would make an amazing father. So, you know, I would very much try and encourage you to consider something like that because, you know, all of that goodness that you have to give, you know, that you've given to others through dance and your teaching as a dance teacher. That would be awesome to see, man, if and when.
It would drive my wife crazy because apparently my jokes are bad enough.
Yeah.
That if I have to do dad jokes with kids, it'll be even worse.
Well, you know, she might say that, but I'm sure she loves it. Probably now more than ever, man. This is a good thing. When we go through tough times, I think we appreciate each other that little bit more, you know. No, but that, you know, that's something that right now is probably not, you know, the most important thing. But when you said that they removed the seminal tubes, I was like, oh, fuck, that means you can't have kids.
Yep.
So on top of everything, which is already, you know, incredibly tough and daunting, now we have this to deal with as well. But
luckily everything else works exactly the same.
My man. It's Uruguayan.
Slash Armenian.
There you go. So would they could discuss going under the knife again, though, right? If they had to remove something else, that's still could be a thing.
Of course, anything can happen between now and God knows when.
Sure.
You know, because at the moment the reason why I'm getting chemo is there could be cancer cells that are laying dormant.
That's right. Yep.
That could wake up.
Yeah.
And because it's systematic, it's in the blood now, traveling from organ to organ.
It could represent
could
itself.
be anywhere.
Yeah, it could present itself anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now, but with because there's a follow-up scan of the body that happens following the surgery, right?
there was a pathology test. Yeah, with the blood test and everything.
Sure.
At that point, my tumor markers, CEA cancer markers, had dropped from 300 down to 27. It's supposed to be between 10 and 5.
Okay.
So it was a massive drop already.
Sure.
So going into chemo, it's better for it to be so low as opposed to in
That's
the hundreds.
right. Yeah. So the work is down here instead of all of this. Okay, cool. So that's kind of like the next big step in this journey, right?
Yeah.
Following chemo to do the follow-up. Do they do any along the way? No. They wait until the 6 months.
I don't know.
Okay,
I know they do. I got to do a blood test every day before. So I'll be getting my chemo on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So every fortnight. So on the Monday, I have to get a blood test so they can see where all my levels are at.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing at that point they'll also be checking the tumor and cancer markers.
Yes. Now, normally I sort of ask a general kind of question, like what do you see in the future, or where can we find you, or similar type things. But I'd like to ask a question, probably a little deeper, or I guess a little bit harder to ask given the circumstances. But if you were to go, we're all going to go one day.
Which I will at some point.
Of course.
Yep.
But if you were to go sooner than you expected or sooner than you wished, what would the world, what would your family, what would your beautiful wife, what would you want them to know about you? Or what would be, I mean, it's hard to ask, what message would you give them? Because,
This answer's easy for me.
Okay.
And
So you've given it some thought.
I'll explain why. No, because it's already happened.
Sure.
See, normally when a person passes away,
Yeah.
they get all these tributes, these
Sure.
legacies that people talk about them,
Indeed.
what they've done,
Indeed.
the effect they've had on the world
Sure.
because of how they are.
Sure.
Remember earlier I told you about the fundraiser.
Sure.
So as a result of that, I was flooded by messages, emails, text messages, Facebook messages, posts on my wall about my effect on people's life and the way that I am as a person and what I mean to them. And it, like I said to my wife, it feels like I've gone and people are paying tribute, but I'm not actually gone. And so if there's one thing that I am proud of,
Sure.
is that I know that even if I'm not here or the day of tomorrow, I'm not infallible, but I've lived up to my word.
Sure.
I've always had, and not just mine, but mainly other people's best interests at heart.
Sure.
And I've helped. And all that help that I've given has resulted in people helping others.
Sure.
A long time ago, I had someone who helped me, which put me on this course of helping others. And I know that, tomorrow if I'm 80, I'm going to remember that person for that action. So on a selfish level, I knew that if I was to help people along the way, that in 20, 30 years' time, when they're talking to their grandchildren and they talk about that one moment in their lives, my name's still going to be around.
Sure.
So for me, that's the legacy that I'm happy to leave behind, that I know that the day that I'm gone, with my family, my wife, my friends, my networks, they're going to remember what I did for them.
Sure.
They're going to remember how I was with them.
Sure.
I think that answers your question.
It does. It does. But I think the legacy is quite clear. And I think I've read or heard somewhere that it's not about how much money you make. It's not about, all those things that were kind of like materialistic, let's say, or the record books or whatever. But it's more about the impact that you've had on people, because that is timeless. And that ultimately is truly, that's living. It's a living thing, and like you said, you help one person, you left that legacy, then they help someone else, and then that continues through the ages. but if I was to say to you, you get to write your own, what do they call it? The eulogy or your own tombstone, what would you say Nestor is and was?
Yep. That I lived to the fullest.
Sure.
I stuck by my guns on everything.
Sure.
Definitely not infallible.
Sure.
But definitely always stuck to his word.
Sure. And a man who loves his beautiful wife too, right?
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Second
She's
to
a
none.
big part of your life, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful, man. Y la familia también.
Of course.
Yeah, mom and
Yeah,
dad,
goes
and
without
brothers
saying.
and sisters. Yeah, awesome, my man. Well, look, needless to say, it is my hope, and I speak on Paulie as well, that your story will continue for many, many, many more years to be written, that we won't even have to go to these legacy type situations, scenarios, or conversations. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us. It's very special for us to have you on here today at the best of times.
Thank you.
Given everything you've done in your career, and also for us as Latinos in Sydney, and just for Australians in general, but particularly since you're going through what you're going through. So I was extremely delighted that you agreed to come on with us. We are going to rush this episode out as quick as possible, because I think that's a big part of what we want to do also is join this huge wave of support that's going around for you right now.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll continue to sail that wave. I think you going public was definitely the right thing to do. Perhaps for some people it's not, but I think for you, I think it's the right thing to do, because I can see that you're a man who thrives on his community and his students and his and his career and his LDA and being this ambassador who you have been for many, many years. So I think I admire the way that you've flipped that into your advantage. For many people to have every minute of the day almost like, oh, what's happening? What are you doing? You should do this, and you did mention a little bit about that, right? Yeah. But you're flipping it into like a source of fuel almost, right? To it's like a team, we're all behind you, some a lot closer and some more from afar. But we just want to say, man, full power to you, to everything you've done and you will continue to do. With or without your physical presence, you did say it, you will continue to do this. But I suspect that you're going to do very well all through this, man. I think you're going to smash chemo. It's going to be like a little chink in the armor. And hopefully, it will do the job, and prayers in the air for all the people treating you. Prayers in the air for all the medicines, for all the professionals in charge of your body and your health and your caring, for all your doctors and for all your surgeons, past, present and future, hopefully not future. and of course, brother, prayers in the air for your family, for your loved ones, for your beautiful wife, and for your immediate support team who are going through a hell of a lot with you. And hopefully they'll continue to support you and love you and give you everything that you need to get through this battle, brother. But most importantly, praise for you, hermano. We're sending you love and strength. And I'm sure, again, that hearing about your story, knowing about your story, and now having you in front of me, I feel the strength, and I am very confident that you're going to do very well, my brother. So please,
thank you.
For the sake of all of us, beat this, get over this, show us how it's done, tell us all about it, document it all, write your book one day,
I'm terrible with books.
Well, I'm sure there's
That's
people
why I'm filming everything.
Well, there's people that can help you with that, man.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But brother, please, in the name of humanity, man, please, continue to doing what you're doing, man. Stay on the path. And, don't let yourself be defeated by this I'm not going to say horrible cancer, but this light you know,
Situation.
that situation, yeah. But yeah, my brother, full power to you, man. Thank you again for coming on the show, mi hermano. Muchísimas gracias de corazón, okay?
Look, I know that this for you is close to home.
Yes, man. Yeah.
So no doubt it brought back memories at some point.
Yeah,
and,
man, definitely. Very much
hopefully
so.
this helps in some way.
Thank you, man. Gracias.
Thank you for having me.
Man, no, thank you.
And if I can just say, just quickly.
Sure, whatever you want, man. The microphone's yours, hermano.
So this goes aimed more towards men.
Sure.
I know colon cancer is across the board.
Sure.
It doesn't prejudice to male or female.
Yeah.
But men have a tendency to hide away from stuff.
Yeah, we do.
And I have a chat going that I started, which I thought was going to be 5-10 people. It's now over 100 people.
Sure.
It's 100 guys from around the world. And I've talked to them through what I'm going through, and they're getting the colonoscopies and they're getting checked for different health stuff. And so if there's any guys that want to know more, ladies as well, but if there's any guys who want to know more about what I'm going through, have any questions, and are afraid to talk to their wives, or, be a little bit open about the situation that they might be facing, more than welcome for them to contact me.
Sure.
I'm happy to talk to them.
Sure.
Or put them part of the chat. The chat has 105 men, no ladies in it.
Sure.
And they're literally from Australia, New Zealand, US, Tahiti, and Malaysia.
Awesome.
So, and we all share our current stories, and guys who are getting checked up, they're sharing how going to the doctors, where they're at, and all that kind of stuff. So it gives them an outlet.
Sure.
Without feeling like they can't.
Yeah.
And that's something that men have a tendency of doing. I was one of them.
Sure.
And that's why I started this chat, because I know there's a lot more out there. And if they feel that this will help them, more than happy to talk to them about it.
And when you say get in touch, I mean through the usual channels, so Facebook, Instagram, we're going to have all your links up accompanying the podcast. So that's the best way, yeah?
Yep.
And of course, Latin Dance Australia.
Latin Dance Australia.
If anyone wants to join, have some fun, get fit, get social, get cultural, all those things that we mentioned, you can check them out.
Reconnect after being away from people for so long.
Yeah, man, amazing. Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, we're getting over the COVID hurdle, slowly coming back to life. So all of us dependent on, these more social kind of, gatherings and everything. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to continue to take advantage of those relaxing and the good numbers coming through and everything. So prayers in the air for that as well, man. And again, thank you, my brother. God bless you. Muchísimas gracias de corazón, okay?
Thank you.
Gracias, mi hermano. All the best, my brother. Stay strong. Muchas gracias, Nestor. Thank you,
Really
man.
appreciate it.
No, thank you, my friend. It was a pleasure and an honor for us. And also we want to say thank you to our foundation sponsors, Q Corp Construction, Open for Australia. Who am I forgetting? Crash Claim, meeting new friends by accident. And of course, big shout out to Variant Collective, supporting our social media content. Shout out to Nelson. Thank you, Paulie. You're the man. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
for everybody at home, man. Nestor, muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias,
Thank you.
hermano. Ciao, ciao. Wow.
Good?
Amazing, man. How do you feel?
Good.
Pretty cool, no?
Expansion